Hello people of the internet, this is REDCUBE Everything coming at you with yet another game for today. It's going to be PATHOS, versus Team Seduction. And obviously going into this match, we are a little bit delayed as the first match went on to a map 3, and sometimes teams just kind of try to schedule in the maps. We're thinking that they're going to be a 2-0. So we are a little bit delayed here for this map, and just because I want to get the players kind of done with their game as soon as possible, because I don't want to waste their time any longer, I am just going to be going through the map bans. We've already gotten the map bans here, and probably just shorten up the pregame a little bit and just make sure that all the team's players are ready, and then we'll just get right into it. So first thing to look at in these map bans is we are seeing Consulate, Oregon border. Okay, so Consulate, don't get me wrong, it's very, very original. We haven't seen that as often. But Oregon border, I mean, we just saw those, so not as original as you would like it. But the thing is, when we go on to Consulate, when we're looking at Consulate, PATHOS is probably one of the best teams on Consulate in this entire league. They continue to impress us with strats we've never heard of, strats we've never seen, and they do it all on Consulate. I'm very surprised Seduction let that one through. I would definitely expect that one to be a ban, but it looks like maybe Seduction have a couple pocket strats as well. Maybe they can catch PATHOS kind of sleeping on them and pull out a couple rounds on Consulate and maybe possibly get the win. Then obviously going on to Oregon, very, very common map, very strat-heavy map, and I don't necessarily know if I like this. I'm definitely going to be giving the map bans towards PATHOS, solely due to the fact they got Consulate, and also because Oregon is such a strat-heavy map, they don't necessarily, I don't think Seduction are going to be up for it. And the reason I said is because we've seen Seduction has changed their roster time and time again, and so has PATHOS. So I think both teams going into Oregon, not knowing their teams as well as you kind of want a team to know each other, I think all of those just kind of factors just create a lot less strats, a lot less strategies, and especially Oregon and border, I'm still going to be giving this to PATHOS. But obviously, the players are waiting, and we're going to be going right into it, onto Consulate being the first map. Here we go. Alright guys, so here we go, and I'd like to quickly apologize for the fact that it says orange team and blue team instead of their legit team names, but I will have their team names displayed on the top. So PATHOS is going to be the blue team, and Team Seduction is going to be the orange team. I apologize for that. I wanted them to get into this match as quick as possible, that I kind of forgot to change those settings. That is completely my fault, guys. I apologize for that, but I hope you guys kind of understand, obviously. PATHOS, blue team, Seduction, orange team. I'll keep that overlay going for you guys. So already we see Glaz and Blackbeard getting knocked off of the board. That is absolutely no surprise, and if you were looking for originality and something different in operator bans, well, this is not the place to be, as Glaz and Blackbeard continue to get taken off the board, as well as Mira. I have never seen something so common. These three always get taken off the board. I'm definitely expecting for the orange team, them being on defense, I'm expecting maybe a roamer taking off of the board, because it's not as viable as a Mira, but it also is viable enough so when they go on defense, they don't have to worry about it. They're actually going to take an intel operator off the board, somewhat a roamer as well in that Valkyrie. So that's very interesting. Seduction taking off the Valkyrie, I think they're definitely expecting, obviously, there's a lot of Valk cams you can get outside and that can prep a lot of runouts, especially on Consulate. And because they are going up against a team of PATHOS, you're going to have to expect that. PATHOS knows this map of Consulate like the back of their hand. I think Seduction obviously know that, and I think that's why they're taking Valkyrie off of the board. Whereas with Glaz, Blackbeard, and Mira, I mean, those bans are kind of self-explanatory. Again, guys, I would like to apologize for the fact that we are seeing a little bit lower quality on the stream and things, so things are looking a little bit pixelated, but that was solely due to the fact I was trying to get back the frames that we lost earlier on in today. We had a couple issues with the co-casting and things like that. And in all of that, I wanted to just decrease the bitrate so I can ensure that you guys would be able to watch the game in somewhat decent FPS. So I apologize, guys, if it's a little bit pixelated and things kind of just look a little off. But I would definitely be fine-tuning that very, very soon so I can give you guys the best quality of streams as soon as possible. But if you guys weren't here for the first game, the thing to note is that we might have to do a rehost here, as I think the server is off. As I think we are on East servers. That is what we normally. My bad. I think we normally do East, but I think we're supposed to do Central. That is 100% my fault. I think. We are going to do a rehost here, guys. I apologize for that. I'm going to ask them if they want. Yes, they are going to be doing a rehost. We'll be right back with you guys. Apologize, put it on the wrong server. We'll be right back with you guys as soon as possible.
Life.
I was fine when you pulled me down. You said the stars would answer. You said our prayers were written down. I was fine when you pulled me in. We were forced to be human. And then
Alright guys, we are actually going to be going right into it. That rehost was a lot quicker than normal, and it also allowed me to put the team names on blue and orange so you guys won't be confused at all. And I also did already get the map bans, so we won't be seeing those anytime soon again. It's obviously Glaz, Blackbeard, Mira, and Valkyrie. That was probably one of the most efficient rehosts that we've ever had, and I'm very proud of that. We've always seen sometimes Ubisoft likes to take over and just kind of absolutely screw over the rehost, but right now we are looking very, very good. Obviously, because it was in the prep phase, you have to choose the same ops and the same site, but the difference being that you can obviously change your 6-pick and things like that. So no operators died, no operators were kind of left hanging, and we didn't have to play the round, and I apologize if you guys hear the beeping in the background, but we don't have to replay that round or anything. It's just going to be set at 0-0 like it's just a fresh slate. Alright guys, so obviously going back upstairs, I think just Seduction are a lot more comfortable with this site. Upstairs has definitely found its way into the meta as being the most viable site. We have seen Seduction on Consulate a lot. They normally like to make a rotate hole here that leads into the meeting kind of main area in this area, and then just kind of gets an angle onto lawn desk. It's definitely what I'm expecting. They might actually be changing things up, as obviously, like I said, everybody has seen Seduction on Consulate. That is the issue with Seduction. They are probably one of they are actually definitely the team that everybody knows everything about, and they are really forced to kind of just change up their strats, just change up things, and just kind of bring something new to the table. And that does create a lot of interesting strats that can get you the win, but it also forces you to do a lot of work you might not want to be doing. But obviously going upstairs first, this is a little bit more viable than downstairs. Some people obviously prefer the downstairs site, but Seduction have a plan for upstairs, and that's exactly why we're seeing them here. No roamers really for the Seduction team. Broha obviously is in an off-site kind of anchor position, just holding down that admin office area. But no really roam kind of pressure downstairs, upstairs. Downstairs or deep downstairs in the basement. It is really just everybody is focused upstairs, and that is where they're going to be putting all of the bodies. That does call for a lot of focus onto the site, which is always a problem for teams, and it's a little bit of a throw up and a little bit of a gamble, because if teams want to just get rid of that roam, obviously you have a lot more people on site, but that means a lot more focus, and you just have to win your gunfights a lot better. And we see already a lot of pressure has been established here from Pathos at the get-go onto the floor of the site, and it's already, with only about a minute in, we see Seduction kind of on their back heels a little bit. Something that's very interesting to note is Pathos versus Seduction. We've referenced this in the Siege After Dark podcast. Those happen every Wednesdays if you guys are wanting to tune into those. In the Siege After Dark podcast, we noted that these two teams are almost mirrors of each other, as they both have had, as Broha gets a nice frag onto Redix, they both have had absolutely insane amount of roster changes. They've kept a solid 3, but the last 2 have been changed in and out, in and out, in and out, and that's why these two teams really do mirror each other, as Broha is going to be going down, as K9 just cannot seem to hit Broha, unfortunately, when he is on the ground. But that does finally get the kill. Heckle, though, is able to get a kill onto Durkin. That is going to be the Legion off the board, and that is a tough operator off the board. Not early on, but earlier than most of the other people, as Ham is able to get a nice kill onto Heckle. Very quick peek from Heckle, but the bullet travels faster than your movement, and Ham just proves that. Is able to headshot Heckle right between the forehead, as McFoles is actually able to get a kill with the Maestro gadget and the Evil Eye cam. So that Evil Eye just became a little bit more evil, and now it's only Curtis and K9. Can they clutch this out? Side pressure definitely in favor here of the offense, as Curtis is actually going to flash himself, so that's going to take a lot of time out of the push. But just like I said, a lot of time out of the push. They don't have a lot of it, and Ham is taking down the Habana. It's going to be all up to the very, very low K9. Let's see what he can do. K9 obviously being not a sub, but a new player for Pathos. Definitely looking to prove himself here, as well as Broha and Kirkland for Seduction. Like I said, these two teams have seen a lot of roster changes, and they practically mirror each other when regarding the fact of how their roster is put together, as K9 is able to get a kill onto McFoles, but it's not going to be enough time. Gets hit by a Legion that could possibly kill him, but 2 seconds left, and that round is going to the defenders. Seduction win that one in not very convincing fashion. Very close round, and that's kind of what I'm going to be expecting to see almost the entire time between these two. Like I said, I've said it almost multiple times now, these two teams are identical to each other. They have had so many roster changes. They've had just not enough time to really establish strats with this new team. They've had just ups and downs, here's and there's, and then they come against each other. It's really going to be a battle between whose roster is more complete, and both of them at this point really not complete rosters at all. And it's even interesting because they're so identical. They all have the 3 most common players. You're on Pathos, you're going to see Curtis, Deadbite, Heckle, whereas on Seduction, you're going to be seeing Durkin, McFoles, and Ham, and then those last 2 have been swapped out time and time again. That's why you see K9 being a sub for, not a sub, but a new player for Pathos, Redix as well being a new player for Pathos. And then for Seduction, they have Kirkland and Broha. So again, just reiterating the fact, these two teams are almost identical. So now going downstairs, I guess you could say to Old Reliable in Season 1 and 2 with the basement hold defense. This is definitely the other site, or like I guess the only other site on Consulate that you definitely would say you'd pick this first over upstairs. Because, I mean, I don't really know anybody who would pick main lobby before upstairs or downstairs. So that's exactly why we see Seduction here. They're not pulling out any tricks like we saw Midpoint do. And unfortunately, even though Midpoint's tricks didn't work all the time, they still did make an impact, but Seduction isn't going to be following those types of steps. So Pathos just going to be going right in here as Heckle, the Dokkaebi, is just trying to open up as many lines of sight. The biggest thing to do on this hold and on this push as the attackers is you got to get control of Piano. Because if you let that bandit trick like he is doing, you're never going to get a lot of pressure on the garage. And if you can't get a lot of pressure on the garage, where you're going to have to push A, and pushing A is considerably harder than pushing B. And that's exactly why we see Deadbite right now just droning out that bandit, knowing that, okay, I probably can't get a thermite charge down because Durkin is going to be trying to bandit trick as much as possible. Ham is watching the angle from yellow stairs. Redix is able to get the first frag onto Durkin. That is the bandit off the board. And forget the bandit tricking. Thermite is free to bring a pretty big hole coming right up, as he's always said. But for some reason, I guess he's shying off of it a little bit. Maybe waiting. I don't think he actually got the call out that the bandit is the one that is dead. A little bit confused there, but I think they're just maybe holding off the push right now. Broha is on the deep roam here. Everybody else is focused in sight here. Force Team Seduction. We could potentially see a nice flank onto yellow stairs if Broha is just patient enough. Thermite finally getting the hole open into garage. Lots of pressure already. Like I said early on in the match, pressure put on to the Seduction team. Although they kind of, held that pressure very well. Last round, is it going to be enough to hold it time and time again? And you know, I've said this time and time again as well. Pressure shapes legends, and I mean, Seduction, they're under a lot of pressure already, but it seems as almost the attack here from Pathos has kind of just froze, become stagnant, as they've gotten the garage open, but they really don't know what to do with it. As we see Deadbite slowly creeping in here. He's going to try to catch a frag out under the smoke. Does kill Kirkland. That's the smoke out of the play. So there goes your direct plant denial. It's going to be all up to that, I can't think of the name right now, the Maestro, who is going to be just littering shots there onto the Deadbite. And Deadbite is actually going to be going down. So there goes Diffuser. And it's going to be all up to Mick Foles, though, because although he stops the Diffuse plant, he also has to stop 4 attacking players. Mick Foles is able to kill down Redix, but as he is completely flashed and sees nothing but the whiteness in front of him, Curtis is able to find the frag onto Mick Foles, hiding in the computer room. And just like that, it is tied 1-1. Something you see from a team, especially like Pathos on Consulate, is they are always better at defense. And that's because you need a lot more strats on defense than you do on attack. On attack, you can kind of say, you know what, let's play this like Latin America and let's just go get frags. Obviously, you guys know the very, very famous Xeno team that is in the league now. If anybody doesn't know, that is my team. We play like Latin America. We have absolutely zero strats, and we just say, you know what, let's just go for frags. On attack, you can do that. On defense, not so much. Even on attack, like, yes, you can do that, but will it work? Probably not, unless you're absolutely insane like the Latin American teams. But that's the thing. Like, I get back to my point is Pathos, they're going to be a lot stronger on defense. They're already very strong on attack, don't get me wrong. But because they're so good at Consulate, because they've organized their strats, you're definitely going to be stratting more for the defensive side of things. And that's why Pathos are so feared on Consulate. It's because their defense is so strong. Obviously, them losing Ryan and Penguin, though, they lost a lot of firepower and they lost a lot of fragging power. And, I mean, they could still be strong in Consulate, but is it going to be strong enough? That really is the question. And something as well to note is the fact that Seduction, they are a team that work very, very hard. I think the hardest working team in the league is definitely Revolt. Seduction closely behind them. They continue to strat, they continue to figure out things, but because of all the roster changes they've had, they haven't been able to utilize all that stratting potential, all that time they have, because they don't know exactly who they can talk to, who they can get organized for strats, because they don't know their starting 5. But I think they're starting to finally get into the flow of things, starting to get a consistent lineup, and that's exactly what they need. And I think we're really seeing both of these teams start dwelling into their positions and getting a lot better strats going and a lot better communication, a lot better chemistry, because right now both of these teams are going through a lot of roster changes. This game between the two is definitely going to point to who has kind of established their roster a little bit better. Like I said, these two teams are mirrors. This is going to be a team. This is going to be a game that really just points to who's going to be just the, I guess, better team on who has made the better roster. That's just going to really. This game is really going to point to that. As we actually see the Nitro going to be coming out there from the Pulse, but Ham is not able to find anybody. Just a little bit of a premature Nitro there. Waste of utility, although that does scare the attackers a little bit. It's not going to scare them enough where one of them drops dead. as all the attackers are going to be still alive. And again, lots of pressure. Actually, not so much this time, but there's still a lot of pressure on his site. But Seduction is able to get the first frag as Broha on that roam with Durkin upstairs is able to get the first frag onto the Zofia. So Zofia down. That's a lot of utility off of the board. And we see the Pulse just making callouts for his team, just trying to let everybody know exactly where everybody is. But Kirkland going down once again to Deadbite. That is the smoke off of the board. We saw this in the midpoint game. Swick continued to lose that smoke early on, and that was the problem. We see that here again. Seduction, lose the smoke early on. That push is definitely going to start coming in now. We have complete yellow control, Pathos do, and Seduction, they might have to retake site here because Plant could easily come down. No smoke to directly deny it. And Deadbite is just lurking and just trying to find an opportunity to plant right in front of that white van. Ham is going to be caught out from the kill hole, and that is a kill hole actually made by Ham. And we know what I say. Kill holes, they work both ways, and unfortunately that worked then the wrong way for Ham, and he's going to be caught out with a headshot right between his eyes, and Curtis is able to find the frag onto him. So 3 operators left here. Everybody is back in sight except Broha, who continues to lurk on this roam. The stun is going to be coming out, and Heckle is actually going to know. Curtis is actually going to be able to know exactly where that Broha was pushing from, but is going to be caught out from Durkin, who is upstairs. And unfortunately, Mick Foles continues to just dominate with that Maestro cam and continues to take down operators and take down teams because they just can't get the plant down. And Maestro continues to be such a problem as Broha is able to establish a crossfire, not with a player, but with the Maestro cam. As Mick Foles, very, very strong play on the Maestro. That is actually his third kill with the Maestro cam. So Mick Foles, do what you're doing as it is working and continue to play Maestro. Who in the chat? I don't exactly know what that means. I'm looking. Oh, that the thing he is referencing. Obviously, the question that he is asking is: this is the rounds won. This is the way I do it. Is you have to win on a different site and able to go back to the site that you won before. That's what I kind of hit upon on the midpoint game. Like I said, some people don't like it. I like it a lot because it encourages people to try other sites. But again, like I said, probably in Season 2, we might be changing that. But unfortunately, I don't like it, but sometimes you just got to be listening to the players at this point. The thing that does, though, is not only does it... There's 2 things it does. It encourages people to play on different sites, but it also makes people play on sites they're not comfortable with, and you could slowly start seeing teams just kind of slip into the deep, dark abyss of them repeating a site that they continue to lose. And it's really 2 sides of the same coin. Do you want a team to continue to lose and try to encourage them to go to a different site where it kind of makes the game somewhat favored into the attacking team? Or do you want it where the defensive team can keep going back to their favorite site after they, I guess, lose on a site they're not as comfortable with, which will mean you start seeing kind of the same typical sites. It's really just 2 sides of the same coin. I'm definitely going to be having to talk with that to the community and see exactly how they feel about it, as it kind of just comes down to the players are the ones that matter the most, so we have to figure out exactly what they want. Once again, Broha is sticking with that Jaeger. Obviously, with this new update, very interestingly, the Jaeger gun has met a significant recoil drop when you take the vertical grip off. So I think Broha possibly could be doing that. Actually, no, he is not. He's actually using the vertical foregrip. But fun fact, if you take the vertical foregrip off with this new patch, I don't know if it's necessarily a glitch or it's just something they implemented. I have no idea why, though. If you take the vertical foregrip off of Jaeger's gun, it has considerably less recoil. It is almost like a laser. It actually kind of reminds me of Alibi's gun, and everybody knows how strong Alibi's gun has become. And it's just an absolute laser. As we see the push again onto admin here, Broha is going to be pushed out of his position. He did get the kill onto the Zofia the first time. Is that going to repeat? I think all that utility getting knocked out of the board early on was what gave Seduction this win upstairs. But I don't necessarily know if he is going to be up for it, as the crossfires have already been established and Broha is just getting riddled by bullets, very, very much so. Durkin is able to find a kill onto Redx. That is going to be the new player for Pathos, falling down once again. Redx has 2 kills, but definitely going to be trying to expect more from him from the Pathos team. But he does continue to play very, very well. And just like that, the trade is going to be coming out onto Durkin. That's a Legion off the board once again. When you look at the way Durkin plays Legion, he plays it very aggressively, and although sometimes playing aggressive is good, as a Legion operator, it's not necessarily the smartest thing because you lose a lot of utility, because Legion is one of those operators that the more you use him, the longer he stays alive, the stronger he gets, as Ham is just trying to pepper those pre-fires onto the wall, and I think Curtis... And actually, Curtis is going to be going for that frag. Is not going to fall into the lines of sight yet of Ham, as Smoke is just going to be kind of sitting here on the doorway. Could potentially go for the frag, as all the Habanas aren't going to be taken out, but everybody knows exactly where that Smoke is, and Smoke is just not able to find the head of the Dokkaebi. I don't know how he didn't see that earlier on, but it's Kirkland. It's not completely fast. Broha is able to get a kill once again onto K9. A lot of utility out of the board, but Curtis quickly there to trade it up, make it a 3v3 now. Heckle make it a 2v3, as just like that could potentially be a 2v1, but Broha is able to stay alive once again. It is still a 2v1 though. Was a 3v1 for a brief second, but Broha is able to get one, but can he flick enough? And he does! What a flick there from Broha, able to get the kill, and not only get the kill, but secure the round for his team, as just right there, very unorganized crossfire from Pathos, but just you can't take away from the individual skill there from Broha. The roster sub, the new player for Seduction, Broha, is playing absolutely out of his mind. What a great turn and a great flick onto the Pathos players, and is able to secure a round for his team. But we are 1 round away from seeing Pathos go on to defense. I think this is a very important round right now for Pathos. And the reason I say that is because if they let Seduction get to a 4-1, that means they have a lot to do when they get onto defense. And obviously, like I said earlier, they're probably going to be a lot stronger on defense because it is this is their map. This is kind of they have a lot more strats on defense. Obviously, I said this earlier and I don't really need to reiterate it, but the thing is, if we see a 4-1, Seduction, they only have to win 2 on attack, and that's a lot easier than having to win. And obviously, they no matter what have to win 2. If they win, they'd have to win 2 on attack, and it's a lot easier than winning 3 on attack when we see a strong Pathos team on defense. So I think this is a very, very important round for them, because we know Pathos is going to be strong on defense, but they don't want to dig their hole so deep that no matter how strong they are, they're not going to be able to find their way out of it. So I think this is a huge round for them to, I don't know exactly what Ham is doing, but this is a huge round for them to kind of secure. They need to get to a 3v2 because they cannot let Seduction this early on be 1 match away from match point. Pathos does have his drone in a very nice position, but he is actually going to be spotted out there. And although the drone gets spotted out, that is still a lot of intel for the Pathos team. They know there's at least 2 players upstairs holding it down. And with the way Broha is playing, if I was the Pathos team, I'd say, you know what? Maybe let's try to just get out of Broha's way, because he is as hot as a pistol right now and is playing very, very well. So we see again trying to get that garage door open. Almost the exact same way. Get control of piano, get control of the main floor, and then work your way down. That's exactly what Pathos is doing. It didn't work one time, it worked another time, and it's at 50-50 right now. Let's see if they can change that to 2-1 and maybe get it to 75-25 if they pull off this win here on garage. Ham is just going to be laying shots there onto the Buck. The Buck is the main player to just open up all of those holes and open up all of those angles onto the Bandit, and actually there is no Bandit, but onto the garage. And that's exactly why Ham, you see, just kind of riddling shots through the floor, trying to find a pick onto that Buck, because Buck is so pivotal in this push. If he opens up those holes, if he opens up those angles, it is so much easier to get a shot down. It's just like that Buck is not able to find the correct hill. As he just continues to open up holes and continues to bombard the Seduction defense, but not able to find a frag yet, and actually taking the brunt of the damage as he is down to about 25 health. Broha and Durkin are going to be still upstairs. Kirkland is finally able to find his first frag onto Redix. That is going to be the buck off of the board. And just as I said how important he was, he is going to be as important in his grave as Durkin is also down. So it's essentially right now a 4v4 unless somebody can get Durkin up. And just like that, another player down here for Team Seduction finally going to be finishing off. So then essentially a 3v4. And Ham is going to be met with a bunch of shots. And the push from the garage is definitely going to be coming out here soon. Deadbite probably looking for the plant. Broha, though, is able to get a kill onto K9. So it makes it a 3v3. Durkin still hasn't been picked back up yet. Could potentially, I guess, be safe in a position where he could potentially be picked up. But 30 seconds left. That's not where you want your focus. You want your focus on this last second push here from Pathos, as that is a little bit of intel. As actually Durkin is going to be picked back up. It's going to be a 4v1, 4v2 make it. And just like that, 18 seconds left here. It's going to be up to Curtis and Heckle as they push into site and try to gain control of site. They have to get the frags. They don't have the diffuser. 7 seconds left. It is not looking good for them. Echo is not able to find the shots on the Ham. And just like that, the duo of Kurgle is not able to secure that round. So as I said earlier, that was a round that was so important for this Pathos team to win. And unfortunately, they didn't win it, meaning that Seduction are just one match away, one round win away from match point. And also that means they're going to be taking the win on Pathos's map. It's very interesting to say that, especially on console, on the map that everybody has known Pathos to be very, very strong at. I really didn't expect Seduction to come out as strong as they were. They just established themselves completely. They are 4-1 on practically probably the best map for Pathos. If we go on to Oregon, obviously that being Seduction's pick, it's going to be really hard for Pathos to gain the confidence needed to stop Seduction in their tracks. Like I said, it's going to be a snowball effect. And is Pathos going to have enough energy and enough confidence to stop Seduction, especially when losing their map first? I don't necessarily know. As again, guys, I apologize because of the fact that we had a couple stream issues earlier on today. I was not able to kind of continue the co-caster with my good buddy Storm, as it was just causing way too many problems. But in the end, we are still able to kind of get things going. But that does mean I am going to be casting here by myself. So I apologize, guys, if you hear me just taking breaths or drinking water, as you know, it takes two to tango. But right now, I do only have one. So right now, we are seeing a very interesting... Actually, there's something that's also odd to note is Pathos... Fun fact is they actually, when they played this map, when they had Penguin and Ryan on their team, they actually opted for the main lobby hold first, because their idea was if we win main lobby, it not only throws off the other team, but it then gives us a site that we can fall back onto that nobody is going to be prepared to attack. And right here we're seeing Pathos, they're actually going for a lot more stereotypical hold, a lot more stereotypical site, as they're going to the most viable site on the map, or arguably the most viable site on the map, as they're going up to upstairs. So obviously, those roster changes and those people leaving do a little bit more than meets the eye, as I think the tactics have slightly changed here for Pathos, as maybe they thought people knew what they were trying to do, or maybe it's just not the same without Ryan and Penguin. We know how strong Ryan and Penguin are. That definitely seems like the more likely option. The push they're coming in there from McFoles. Very, very premature push from McFoles. I don't exactly know why he pushed in there. He knew exactly where that castle was not able to find the shots. But Deadbite is able to get yet another kill onto Ham. That is going to be McFoles and Ham off of the board. And it's just going to be up to the Zofia, Habana, and Twitch. Very strong fragging operators, as they have some absolutely spectacular guns. But Heckle, who is just hanging on by a string of his health, is, I think, possibly going to go for the reset, but I don't think so. Actually, K9's actually going to be able to get a kill onto Durkin as well. It's going to be up to Broha and Kirkland, the two subs, or I guess two new players for Seduction. Can they do it? Broha is able to find one. We've seen Broha in this position before. He's punished Pathos. Can he do it again? He's obviously going to need a little bit of help from the Hibana, who is struggling with that barbed wire. But the push is going to be coming out here. Braha is just waiting for that flick from the Thermite. Just not able to find the head. Just riddling shots under that Thermite, but the Thermite's quick peeks are just too fast. Like I said, the bullets move faster than your head, but you have to land the shots first. And unfortunately, Broha was just not able to just put his bullet onto the head of that thermite. And with 40 seconds left, they have to get a push going here. And Smoke, he does have one more smoke canister, but he kind of has used 2 of them a little bit prematurely, as Kirkland is able to find yet another one. And just like that is a 2v2, and Broha is able to find another, and he does see the thermite through the window, is not able to land the shots. Broha is very low, is going to be opting for the pistol, is going to be taking the shots, but Heckle is able to find it. Heckle has about 25 health. Kirkland needs to frag here. The plant is going to be coming down, could possibly fake it. And just like that, attackers are going to win as Kirkland and Broha put up against a 4v2 situation. When numbers aren't in their favor, when statistics aren't in their favor, well, they still come out on top, and that points to a very strong set of players. And I think Seduction are going to be very, very happy with their new signings of Broha and Kirkland, as they were able to bring that back. But then the problem also is PATHOS. This is their map. This is the map they are known to being so good on. And they're continuing to surprise us with just how disorganized they've kind of been. They haven't been there mentally. They haven't been there physically. They haven't been landing their shots. And they just really haven't looked good so far. 5-1 scoreline. Sometimes I say that doesn't show the full story. But right now, it really is. Seduction are kind of outplaying PATHOS. Every gunfight, every match, every round, even when PATHOS have the man advantage, it seems like you're still going to be giving Seduction that extra oomph and that extra kind of step because they just have been outplaying PATHOS so far. And that's very unfortunate to say because PATHOS, when they lost Ryan and Penguin, yes, they're two huge two huge players. We've got to expect a team, especially a team like PATHOS, who have been together for so long, they got to come back from that fairly easily. Well, not easily, but they got to come back from it fairly well. And right now, after they lost those 2 key players, PATHOS haven't won a match yet. And that's got to be kind of stuck in their heads. It's got to be kind of definitely dumbing down their confidence a lot. And they just got to hit the hard reset. They got to figure things out here because they do not want to lose another one here against Seduction. Obviously, Rainbow Six is the most fluid game in the entire world. Actually, there's a couple that rival it, like CSGO and things like that. But no matter what the deficit is, no matter what the player deficit is, as we've actually seen a couple 1v4s, 2v4s, but no matter what the deficit is, you can always bring it back. And as McFoles is going to stun himself, I guess. I don't exactly know what that was for. Might have been a little bit of a fat finger misclick there. But no matter what the deficit is, you can always come back. And although the statistics aren't pointing towards PATHOS, and although it's going to be very hard for them, they can do it. They just have to hit the hard reset. They got to figure things out. And they got to work as a team. And right now, they're not doing that. They got to get it the strong. They got to figure things out. As Deadbite is holding a very wide angle onto the window. Not something you typically want to do, as that offensive operator can peek from anywhere in that window, and she or he is going to see you almost immediately, and you're going to be taken out. Whereas you have to react exactly where that head is going to be popping out from, as Durkin is just going to miss that run out there. And unfortunately not able to find any frags. But with 157 left, nobody has died yet. PATHOS, I think, are playing a little bit more aggressive. They're trying to go for peaks, trying to go for kills, and I think that is definitely really good. But unfortunately, things like that happen. Deadbite holding that wide angle on the window, like I said, is going to be brought down there from the Habana. And just like that, there is one operator, the Maestro, who is huge for intel, going to be taken down as Durkin is able to take down Curtis. And just like that, it is essentially a 3v5 on match point here. Seduction are looking very good. McFoles finds himself all the way in sight. With that kept out, Durkin is actually going to be able to get a kill with the Twitch. That is going to be the downed Maestro. It is all up to the sub of REDCUBE now, as it is a 5v1. And just like that, Seduction win the first map on Consulate. PATHOS went from being one of the most talked about teams, one of the best teams on Consulate, to now getting 5-1 by Seduction. That is not good for them. Their confidence is definitely slowly going down, and they have to hit the hard reset. There's no other solution. They got to say something. They got to take a break here in between maps, and they got to figure it out, because right there, Seduction just completely outplayed them. Great individual skill from Broha, but it still was a team effort, and Seduction came out on top because they just worked better as a team. And just like that, Seduction win the first map. We'll be setting up the next map of Oregon, or as our good old friend Nitrox used to call it, Boregan, as we have just seen it so many times and times again. we'll see exactly what type of strats get pulled out here from Team Seduction and Team Pathos and see exactly how they play. Pathos got to fix a lot of things. Seduction, just keep doing what you're doing. Alright guys, we are... and I forget, there we go. Alright guys, we are back here, Pathos versus Seduction. And again, I forgot to change the team on blue and orange. That is completely my fault. But again, I will just put it up at the top there. Pathos is the orange team, Seduction being the blue team. Seduction just wanting to hug that scoreboard just a little bit too much. I will quickly address that for you guys. But Pathos versus Seduction. Pathos being the orange team. I apologize, guys, that I was not able to... Actually, my fault. Pathos being the blue team. That's my fault again. Pathos being the blue team. Seduction being the orange team. As we get into this one, obviously, Seduction came out on top on the last map. And this one being their map as well, you got to be pointing to a couple things wrong with the way Pathos have been playing. They've been seeing a lot of issues. They've been just disgruntled as a team. There's been just everything has been absolutely all over the place. And I apologize, guys, if you hear the things in the background. Obviously, with this new setup, you can kind of hear things a little bit louder in the background, so I apologize for that. But obviously, PATHOS just haven't looked good. Also, going on Seduction's map of Oregon, they have to fix a lot of things. There is just too many things to count because that whole last map, 6-1 on your most famous map of Consulate, you got to be a lot stronger than that. And let's see exactly what PATHOS can bring to the table here. Obviously, we are going to be seeing just a very typical ban there in the Mira, but with Thatcher and Yin coming out, I think those are definitely a little bit targeted bans, which is kind of interesting to say because we really didn't see all that much Yin play from that last match that I wouldn't really expect it to be a must ban for the blue team, obviously blue team being PATHOS. And the thing that's also very interesting to note about that is they must be expecting, I guess, if Seduction get onto the attacking team, they must be expecting a Yin push downstairs. I'm a little bit confused on the reason behind that Yin ban. I guess maybe it was just kind of a throwaway ban, but no teams really do that. We might see exactly here why they did that. Obviously, they might know a little bit more than we do. Also, another thing to note is we see Seduction going down to old reliable bomb sites. Sometimes we have seen actually today, going upstairs first just to somewhat throw off the other team, but upstairs, kids' dorms, many teams like it better than downstairs. Other teams just say, let's just keep it downstairs. But obviously, being on the downstairs defense, you're going to need a lot of control of classroom meeting hall area. And something that's very odd to note is Seduction have actually opened up the entire, actually not the entire hatch, but an entire hatch in the meeting hall area. I don't know if that's just is going to be there to try to stop the construction side push, which I think that's exactly why it's there. But they've opened up that hatch to just watch that construction side push, but that also just kind of makes a Habana just have a little bit more utility, as she doesn't have to invest a Habana pellet into that trapdoor if it was reinforced, as it has already been broken down for her. So we see PATHOS here. They are going to be doing a very typical upstairs clear, and they're not really going to find anyone as of yet. There is nobody roaming deep upstairs except Broha. Broha was so dangerous last match. They got to get rid of him very quickly, but because of the reinforcements behind him, there's not much they can do except wait for him on the flank and maybe try to catch him out staring the wrong way. But right now, PATHOS, they have cleared out the top floor. They know it's clear, but they know there has to be someone lurking, as that's exactly what Seduction is doing right now. They are just lurking and waiting for the perfect time to establish their flank and maybe get a couple frags here and there to stop that push from PATHOS. You see K9 is going to be pushing here onto Mick Foles into Big Tower. Mick Foles is not going to be looking at it quite yet. I think he is expecting the push from downstairs. Could potentially fall into the lines of sight of the... as actually, I have no idea how Mick Foles hasn't been seen here, as both players were actually in the room together for a considerably long amount of time, but Curtis just getting kills on top of kills as he gets 3, as 3 players just find their heads in the middle of Curtis's crosshairs. First, it was Mick Foles, who he just didn't hear. Then the refrag attempt coming out there from Durkin. Not a very good attempt. And then just catching Broha out, looking the wrong way, like I said that they needed to do. And 4v2 now. The attack from PATHOS is looking very, very good. But we've seen them choke these situations before. They have to push. They have to push strong. Smoke is on the receiving end of a lot of is on the giving end of a lot of damage, but he is also on the receiving end of losing one of his teammates. So now there's a 4v1 clutch opportunity. He has to get the clutch. The plant is not going to be coming down, but Kirkland just not aiming down sights at the exact right time, and K9 is able to find the frag onto him. Unfortunate there from Team Seduction. They had everybody in a strong roaming position, but it just was fizzled out, almost 1, 2, 3 gone when Curtis was able to get 3 kills on all 3 roamers of Maestro, Mute, and the Legion of Durkin. all three were knocked out in a matter of seconds. That's definitely what gave Pathos the confidence and the just numbers advantage needed to win that round. So great push there from Team Seduction. And, my fault, Team Pathos and Seduction, they just got to get their roam game a little bit more established and just not get caught out so quickly so early on. And maybe we could see a little bit of a different story. But as of now, Pathos, that's definitely the confidence they need and definitely what they are looking for after coming off a very tough loss on the last map. I apologize there, guys. My mic cut out a little bit slightly. I think I accidentally slapped the cord, so I think that's probably what did it. So I apologize for that, guys. But something that we have to see here from Seduction, like I said, they just got to not get caught out early on in that roam. They need to establish their roam. They need to establish those flanks, because if they do, if they stop those flanks, if they get those flanks in good positions, if they get those roamers on focused areas, then we will see that push from Pathos get completely fizzled out. They will get killed right from their behinds, and that's exactly what you want your roam game to do. Not only will it get frags, but will most likely waste a lot of time. So right now, Seduction just got to be a little tighter, a little stronger on the roam, and we could see that 1-0 change to a 1-1 very quickly. But something to note is we're seeing almost the exact same lineup and the exact same kind of idea here from Team Seduction, and I don't necessarily know if I like that. The reason that is because Pathos found an answer for the type of roam that we're seeing from Seduction very, very quickly. They killed it almost immediately, and you'd expect them to do that same thing again. Obviously, there's a lot of individual skill that came into play there from Curtis, and I think Seduction are thinking, well, he can't do that 2 times in a row because lightning doesn't strike in the same place twice, but there still is the factor that if something's broken, you gotta fix it, and right now, Seduction isn't looking to fix it, they're looking to redo it, and that's not necessarily the smartest thing in these types of situations. But let's just see how it plays out as we reach about the halfway point of the round. Obviously, being on Oregon, this is a very 50-50 style of map. It's 50% win defense, 50% win offense. That is why it is one of the most picked maps in Pro League, and that is why it is one of the most popular maps, solely due to the fact no one really has a set advantage. Where on Border, it's more about 60-40, and on Consulate, it's actually considerably in favor of the defensive team, as it is, I think it's actually about 60-40 as well, very similar to Border. But Oregon, on the other hand, it's a really 50-50. There is really no advantage for either team, and that's why many teams like it, because it's so strat heavy. It's all about just stratting up and just trying to figure out your angles, figure out your spots, and just trying to get kills and just kind of be a little bit smarter than the other team. And Seduction, I think that's why they value this map a lot, because they are a team that just plays with a mindset that is just, let's try to be smarter than the other team. Especially with the IGL of Durkin and McFoles, it seems to be working a little bit here on this round, as the push is going to be coming in very late, and with that Maestro still alive, that's not going to be doing anything, as Habana is actually going to be rushing in. What a smart play there from Heckle, is able to get the kill onto the Maestro, but it is still going to leave only 2 operators left here for Pathos, also going to lose the diffuser. It's just going to be Deadbite and K9 here. Deadbite is able to find one onto Durkin. It's going to be 2-2, actually 1-2, and the diffuser still hasn't been picked up. Actually, it has 5 seconds left, though. Can they get the frag? And somehow the attackers, when everything was in favor of the defense, they had the diffuser, they had the kills, they had the number advantage. It quickly took a turn for the worse, as the attackers of Pathos somehow won that round. And the very interesting play there from Heckle was he stopped the defuse, he quickly got up and sprinted head on to the Maestro, killing the Maestro. That was a huge play. Although he put the diffuser in a very dangerous position, he killed that Maestro because he knew that Maestro had to be on his cams, he had to be doing something. There's no way he can get off that cam very quickly. Very smart play there from the Habana. Lost the diffuser, definitely put his team at a little bit of an odd spot. But But in the end, they did get the win. So great play there from K9, Deadbite, and Heckle as the last three there. And they just really made a absolutely insane round that was definitely in favor of Seduction. They turned it around, and it gave them the win.
Attackers need to locate and defuse as many bombs as they can.
So something that is very interesting is we saw when PATHOS were on their map of Consulate, they played a lot worse than Seduction. But so far, we're seeing when Seduction's on their map of Oregon, they're playing a lot worse than PATHOS. Obviously, the rounds have been very, very close, and it's kind of come down to the last second. But the maps that these two teams have chosen have been the maps that the other team is just better at. And that's something you really don't expect. That's something you don't want from your team, because if you continue to pick Oregon or you continue to pick Consulate, you got to be strong at those maps. You got to be confident in those maps. But these two teams right now, I mean, it shows they're kind of not confident on both of the maps they chose, whereas they're confident on the maps the other team chose, which is a pattern you really don't see and you don't want to see. So push coming in here from the kitchen side, just trying to clear our kitchen, because as you clear our kitchen, you also clear out meeting hall. So that's exactly what type of push we are going to be seeing here from PATHOS, just try to establish as much control onto the first floor and just try to get things going in their favor. Heckle as well is going to be trying to drone out big towers, just try to get something going for him. Get rid of that roam and push on a site. That is the priority right now of PATHOS, and you can definitely just see that by the way they're playing, as Heckle is able to, I actually thought that was going to down him for some reason. That's why you hear that little change in tone in my voice. But, fortunately, it was not going to down him, and he's going to stay perfectly fine. And he's just going to be trying to clear out as many roamers as possible and just trying to get something established here. Obviously, Mick Foles being upstairs in that lawn bridge area, or attic area, as some people call it as well, has to rotate out. He knows the Habana is going to be pushing him, but everybody here for the defensive team, they are in roaming positions almost. We only see the Maestro, who's the only one on site who's going to be in a gunfight here with the Blackbeard, is able to find the kill onto Curtis, though. So Ham holding down site is holding it down very well, as he also gets the frag onto Heckle. Great anchor play there from Ham. And we said this yesterday in the Siege After Dark podcast, the most underrated player in this league has got to be Ham, because he pulls off plays like that, and we don't quite think he gets the recognition he deserves. But right there, that is just huge plays from him. Now it's going to be up to Deadbite, K9, and Redix here. Two subs and a main, as I guess we're seeing it, because Deadbite is the main player here, but K9 and Redix definitely new to the team. But Redix is able to find a kill through the mattress onto Ham. That is a huge frag for him, but Durkin is able to quickly find the refrag, and it's going to be a 4v2. We've seen these situations go in favor of both teams, and just like that, though, Broha is going to make it a 4v1, and Mick Foles is going to make it a 4v0, and the round is going to be won by the defenders. Great rebound play, as not rebound, but almost rotate play. That's the word I was looking for. Not rebound, but rotate play there from Broha, as he actually went all the way back to the area where they first pushed, where they thought they cleared out. He was able to get a huge frag, make it a 4v1, and then Mick Foles was just there to clean that up. Great heads-up awareness play there from Broha, gets the frag, and gets the first round for Seduction. They looked a lot stronger on that round, and they won it very, very convincingly. Going downstairs again, we are going to have to see exactly what Seduction changes. We've seen them play this site 2 times, and they've lost it both times. The roam game on this site, it's been organized, it's been focused, but it hasn't made a difference. There's really been areas where you're thinking, okay, Seduction definitely should get a flank here. They could get a couple frags here and there. But in the end, their roamers get caught out very, very early. They get caught out almost immediately. And that's really been the difference this entire round. There's been the difference this entire series. whoever can establish their roam game or establish their roam clear first is going to be the team that takes that round. Pathos on that last round, they didn't clear out their roamers like they wanted to, and it bit them in the butt, and they were able to lose, and in the end lost that round. Seduction, though, on the first 2 rounds, they lost the roamers very, very early on. Pathos were able to get a strong roam clear, and they won the first 2 rounds. So I've said this time and time again, the roam game is probably one of the most important factors in Rainbow Six, because if you can establish yourself on the roam, not only can you get frags, but you can just slow down the attack so much. And then there also comes down to the fact, how confident are these teams in each other? Because if you're confident in your anchors, if you're confident in all of your players, then that encourages you to do a little bit more aggressive roam and try to go for frags and just kind of go for different types of style of roam that you wouldn't normally do if you don't trust your anchors. And that's going to be kind of the question now, because these two teams, both very, very nice. Curtis is able to get a kill onto Broha. There's a huge frag, as Broha has been such a problem for Team Pathos. But like I was saying, the question is, who is more confident in their team right now? Who is going to be able to establish themselves? Durkin is able to get a nice kill onto Redx. That is going to be the Sledge, not able to open up as many holes as he wanted to. And just like I said, time and time again, those holes work both ways. And just like that, Redx is going to go down to the Legion of Durkin. And just like that, though, Curtis is going to push the Durkin in the bathroom and is able to find the frag onto him. But 147 left, lots of time, and great roam clear once again from Pathos. Could that point to the round going in their favor? We do see McFull still, though, on this roam and in a position where he could get a flank, get a couple frags, and put this round back to even terms. He's just got to be patient, and he's got to be smart here. Heckle is a little bit confused. I don't exactly know why, but we see the lone Habana charge just has to destroy it. I don't exactly know what Heckle is trying to do, as just like that, Castle is going to be droned out. They know exactly where he is in meeting. The crossfire has already been established, as Mick Foles is going to try to climb up the ladder. Very, very risky play. That was really kind of the only spot or idea that he could really have in that situation. But again, on basement, the roam has been cleared, and that's just siege time in there for you, as Ham is just going to unpeak at the exact wrong time. But once again, the roam has been cleared, and it looks like no damage really done here onto the Pathos team. And they're looking very, very good. Smokes is going to be coming out. He does have all 3, but he also has to worry about the hatch. So if he does try to push that smoke, as just like that Deadbite, he's going to be able to find him. And it's going to be all up to Ham. Ham does find 1, but is he going to be able to find the last 3? The diffuser is going down. Not only is it a numbers disadvantage, but he also has to retake site. And that is not a good recipe, as Ham is just going to try to do the pre-fire on Curtis, but Curtis was just one step ahead of him, read him like a book, and was in a peak where nobody really would expect, as Ham just comes sprinting around the corner. Curtis is able to find the frag. So 3-1 now in favor of Pathos, 1 round away from halftime and rotating sides. Seduction, just like Pathos on last map, they got to win this round. This is a huge round for them, because they cannot let Pathos be 1 match away from match point on the rotate, because that just means 1 match away from match point, and then you're going to be out of it. Just exactly like the Pathos game that we saw on to Consulate. Exact same scoreline, just the roles have flipped. And this is, I said that exact line actually in the midpoint versus Vigor game, as we saw the exact same patterns. We're seeing both of these teams, both of these games have been very pattern based so far. It has been one team takes it on the first map in a certain way, as we actually see. This is very interesting, as just to hold my thought for a second, we're going to be seeing a rear stage hold here from Seduction. This is why we do the rounds 1 type of playstyle. Although you could say, well, this is very unviable and puts the defensive team at a kind of disadvantage. I understand that, and I understand that that is kind of I guess an issue with this, but it also adds to the gameplay, as we're going to be seeing a site we don't normally see, and we're going to be seeing a kind of strat that isn't what you're going to be typical of seeing, and this is going to definitely change up the play a little bit. It's going to throw off Pathos. It's going to bringing a couple new strats to the league, and maybe Seduction will be kind of like the flip side of RCR6, as they will make a strat onto this site that everyone might try to copy or try to utilize. That's why this is going to be very interesting. Obviously, I just want to quickly take a look at exactly what type of hold we are seeing here from the defensive team. Pretty much roamer heavy, as we see 3 roamers and only 2 site holders in Ham and Smoke being the site holders. Actually, Smoke actually being a pretty much off-site anchor, but with that big hole in the middle of meeting, it kind of just extends the site into his advantage, and it does put him in a spot where he can just kind of chuck smokes and stop that plant on that default area where you see Heckle looking in right now. Something that's also interesting to note is you do have Durkin and Broha on the roam once again. Broha is in a very, very deep position and is just going to most likely wait as long as possible. Same as McFoles, as with the castle, is definitely someone who has been utilized a lot more lately and has been put into that roaming position. We could see McFoles definitely cause some damage, as there is a lot of roam focus here for Seduction. Let's see exactly how PATHOS can handle it. Something that is very obvious to see from PATHOS is the fact that they're a little bit confused on exactly how they want to approach this site. They know that they can't get this site really, I guess, in a strat book. They don't exactly know what they want to do with it. But just like that, Redix is with a great toss on the McFoles. McFoles not able to run out fast enough. But just like that, Ham has a great angle on that Rapple. Is able to get killed, but Broha is able to get 2. And just like that's going to be a 4v2 now, as Broha just takes down the PATHOS team. Deadbite very, very low. But like I said, Broha on a super deep roam is gonna become nasty later on, and Durkin finally able to finish off Deadbite. Ham is in a down but not out stage, so it essentially makes it a 3v1, and just like that, it is going to be a 3v none, as Durkin is able to find the last frag onto the Aoeah, just walking past the bridge and lines up with the crosshairs. Huge win there from Seduction, and I really think it comes down to the fact they had to go on a different site, they had to bring in a different strat, and they made it work. They threw off the PATHOS team, and they were able to get a nice victory, a well-needed victory, as now PATHOS, instead of being almost on to match point, they still got a little bit of ways to work with it, as well as the fact that now Seduction are going to be on attack. Let's see if the Seduction attack can look as good as the PATHOS attack did for those first 3 rounds. Obviously, guys, if you have problems with the stream, if you guys are seeing, I guess, lags or kind of frame drops, please just let me know. I will try to address it as soon as possible. As I'm looking at the I guess, the setup I have, where I can see exactly how many frames have dropped, how many frames have changed, and things like that, I'm seeing that there is still a little bit of slight frame drop, and I will try to address it as soon as possible. But again, just let me know if you guys see anything that needs to be fixed. Obviously, because there is a delay, I won't be able to get to it as soon as I would like, but I will try my best. So PATHOS now going on to defense. They're going to be going down to old reliable bomb site of the downstairs. And this is going to be interesting because we saw PATHOS were very strong on the attack, especially when attacking downstairs. Do they have a similar style of play when they're on defense? Are they going to be as strong on defense, or will we see Seduction start trying, maybe potentially start running away with it here and trying to tie it up? We saw Seduction last match. They were a lot better early on in the match, and it forced PATHOS to try to bring it back in the later half of the match. We're seeing the same kind of thing here, but it's now in favor of PATHOS. PATHOS were strong early on in the match, and now it's forcing Seduction to try to crawl their way back into this one. But because Seduction got that win on that last round, they are just 1 round away from tying this thing up and giving themselves a lot of confidence. Seduction definitely going to be looking for a upstairs roam clear, as we see 3 drones going to be put into that upstairs area. Definitely trying to drone out anybody who is upstairs, anybody who is on the roam. And that's going to be Redix, who it's all up to. He's going to be droned out not only by 1, but 2 drones. McFoles is going to call that out for his team. And the push is now going to commence for Team Seduction. Can they catch the Jaeger out? Obviously, you see Durkin trying to prevent any type of rotate. the best time to kill a player is in the middle of a rotation. Get them out of their comfortable spot, get them in that rotation, and force them to put into your crosshairs. As he pushes, going to be coming on, but Redix is going to slowly escape for his life, as it took a lot longer than expected for the Seduction team to get that clear out, but they did finally take down that Jaeger, and with 20 seconds basically into that push, it has gotten a lot of momentum here for Seduction. They've gotten a lot of map control, but they still have to worry about Heckle. Heckle does drop down though, so it's not going to be much of a problem there. But there is still a heavy roam in Meeting Hall. The only site holder actually being the Maestro. Everybody else is going to be in Meeting Hall, waiting for rotating back and just trying to establish as much of control on the map for as long as possible. The problem we have seen with Seduction time and time again is the fact that Curtis is able to get a frag onto Durkin, so it ties it up 4-4. But the problem we have seen with Seduction is Broha is able to find a frag onto Curtis, though. That is quickly refragged there, so it's going to be 3v4 now in favor of Team Seduction. As we see McFoles just trying to clear out the Meeting Hall as quick as possible, but he does not know that the drop has come out there. But it's going to be Heckle here who's just going to be waiting on this long angle for any kills or any person to just drop in front of his crosshairs. And now it's going to force him to rotate all the way back down. But he actually does find himself in a very nice spot, but is not able to find any frags. The problem, like I said, with Seduction, they have a big time management problem. They have 23 seconds left here. They got the roam cleared, but once again, time management is an issue. They have to not only get the plant down, but they also have to deal with Heckle, who is slowly going to be roaming back. But McFoles getting that kill onto K9 was absolutely huge. That is the smoke that is going to be going down, and Broha is able to find the kill onto Heckle. And just like that, Seduction, they got the round they needed, and they also got the round that tied it up here. So 3-3 on Oregon. Pathos have to start bringing it back. Seduction are looking strong, they're looking confident, and definitely after tying it up here, you're expecting that to continue. It's going to be a snowball effect. Once you tie it up, once you start getting that momentum in your favor, things are going to become bigger, badder, and worse to handle for Pathos, so they got to stop Seduction in their tracks now. This is a huge round for them. They can't let Seduction run away with it. As also I want to point out the fact that obviously right now we're not seeing any 6th picks, but if you guys obviously in the top left you see that it says 6th pick phase, this is a moment in the game when all players are going to be able to see the lineup that the other team is bringing and potentially make a 6th pick onto a different lineup, onto a different player that nobody is going to be able to see, obviously, except you if you are on the team. So a good kind of example of this is, say you bring a Monty and everybody sees, okay, they're going to bring in a Monty, maybe we have to 6 pick on the someone with a C4, so they 6 pick onto a Valkyrie or a Bandit. You then can 6 pick off of that Monty. They force them to change their utility and change their strat just because they thought you bring the Monty, and instead you bring an Ashe. So that's kind of just an example of what you could do. It's definitely just a mind game aspect that has been brought into Siege. Some people love it, some people hate it. I'm a little bit in the middle. I love the mind games that come with it, but I just don't necessarily like the fact that I feel like there'd be a little bit more mind games if the other team could never see what operators you're bringing. Because I feel, obviously, in comp play, the objective of joining now is not trying to figure out exactly what operators are bringing, but in the end, it just does take away the fact that you don't have to worry about joining out and trying to figure out who they're bringing. So it's a little bit of a 50-50 for me. As we see Pathos just trying, not Pathos, my fault, as we see Seduction just trying to get their drones in nice positions, trying to clear out as much as possible and as little as time as possible. Like I said last match, if I was a little bit cut off after Seduction got a couple of great kills, but Seduction's biggest problem is the fact that they take a long time with their roam clears, and the time management definitely still needs some work. It has gotten significantly better from when I first started casting for them. Fun fact, actually, Sledge almost about to take the head off the Maestro, just missed the shots, but unfortunately not able to land it there. But fun fact, the first casting I ever did was actually for Team Seduction, so we go way back, and we did that for a scrim. And the problem they had for their scrim when they first started playing was the fact they couldn't clear out that roam. But that's a good start there as they take down Deadbite, who is hiding in bridge area. And Broha as well, able to take down Redix. That is going to be Maestro and Jaeger off of the board. And everybody is now back on site except the Curtis of the Legion of Curtis, who is just down in kitchen waiting for anybody to push him. The Seduction team definitely have put a lot of focus now back onto site and are looking to just get something established, maybe get a plant down, because they have gotten rid of some significant roamers, as it's very odd to say that, I guess you could say Maestro was roaming. He wasn't an offsite anchor position, because he's essentially roaming. But there is still one that they have to worry about, which is going to be that Curtis, who is still sitting downstairs and finally is going to be flanking up possibly onto white, might be going onto the main stairs. We're just going to have to wait and see. This definitely could be a problem for Team Seduction, as Curtis, just like I said, as I say that, he is able to find Broha and makes this deficit a little less, as it's going to be a 4v3 now. Pathos, though, Heckle is going to be taking a lot of damage. He doesn't quite know where yet. He's down to 1 health. If he just trips on his shoelace, he is going to be taken down, and it's still a 3v4. Time definitely in favor here of the defense. Durkin just trying to get an angle onto this mute, but can't get it. And Durkin with that C4 kill onto Curtis. That roamer of Legion's not going to be as difficult, but Heckle is able to get a kill as he jumps out. K9, though, it's going to be all to him with 19 seconds left. They have to potentially get the plant down, as we see Thermite is going to be doing that right now. K9 does not have any smokes left and is also not going to be able to use them, even if he did have them, as Mick Foles puts a bullet into his head. Great take there from Seduction, and that is then 4 unanswered from Seduction. They are getting a lot of confidence, and Pathos have to hit the hard reset now. They have to stop this. They can't let Seduction get on the match point, because if they do, it's not going to look good for them. The attack so far in this entire league, although I said this earlier, Oregon, we've said, is 50-50. 50% defense, 50% on offense. There really is no advantage for either team. But so far in RCR6, we have definitely seen the attacking team get the majority of the rounds. I definitely say it's almost 75-25%, because almost every time on Oregon, we can even look at the midpoint game, the team on attack first was the team that won it in the end. So definitely something to something interesting. Not my fault. Not the team on attack first, but the team that starts attacking, or the team that has the attacking rounds, they are the team that starts winning more rounds. Obviously, basically what I'm saying is, it's very annoying how to get this thought out, but basically what I'm saying is the team that attacks just has a higher chance of winning. That's what we've seen so far, and that's basically what kind of just an interesting stat that I kind of have saw and kind of seen and things like that. I apologize, guys. I got a little distracted over some guy just sent me a very interesting Uplay message, but don't worry about it. But we are going to be seeing the upstairs hold here from Pathos. It didn't work very well last round, as it actually did kind of somewhat come down to the last second, but it still was a 3v1. Again, though, it comes down to the fact Seduction just have an issue with time management, and they are putting themselves in positions where they not necessarily are getting good, I guess, picks early. They're not getting the roam clearly enough, and they're not just having enough time. So we're seeing Seduction put themselves in those types of positions, but they still have come out on top for the majority of them, and almost, actually not the majority, every single attacking round. Even when they have had a little bit of time, only just a little bit of time, they still have come out on top. So time management, I guess you could say it's a problem, but it's not necessarily a priority right now for Seduction, as they are still going to be winning these rounds. We are seeing almost the exact same hold here from Pathos. Deadbite in the same spot. K9 in a slightly different spot. Heckle is going to be the one that was in K9's spot. And Curtis and Redix both again on that deep roam area. Redix actually being in the exact same spot, and Legion also being in the exact same spot. Somehow, Legion escapes with his life there. Again, just on a string of health, as the push is going to be coming out there from Mick Foles. Just waiting as the Capital Bullets is going to be flying in, but he's not going to be able to get it, as he just runs into the pre-fire of Curtis. But Broha is quickly there to trade it out and is able to get the kill. So it's going to be up to the last 3. Redix, though, has finally been drawn out, so they know exactly where he is, but he was in a nice spot there for quite a while where nobody knew exactly what he was doing. So we could potentially see him still get a couple of frags here. Well needed. as Pathos right now are a man down. And if Redix goes down just like that, it's going to be all up to the site operators once again of Deadbite and Heckle, as this is not looking very good for them. As Diffuser does go down there, as Deadbite makes a great roam. He does have Diffuser. He also kills the Thermite Charge just for some extra points. But Deadbite, again, we've seen Pathos players always win they say they win a gunfight, but in the end, they're just hanging on for a string of health. And unfortunately, that could be the difference here, because Durkin just needs to land one shot onto that Maestro, and he is going to be down. Ham is actually going to back right into the Maestro and not even look at Deadbite. I have no idea why he did that. Deadbite must have been on his cam. You got to check your corners, Ham. Come on, man. That is the very typical idea of Rainbow Six Siege. Check your corners and then push. Ham just slowly backs into Deadbite's crosshairs, and that could be the difference. Not a lot of time left, and Heckle gets the kill on the Durkin. Pathos could tie it up here. It's going to be all up to Broha. Broha does have to frag out here. He does have the Diffuser, though, but the C4 is going to be coming out right underneath there from Heckle, as just great team communication from Pathos. They know Broha has to get that Diffuser. They know he has to push that Maestro. Right when Maestro dies, set that C4 off, and Broha is going to be going down. What a great play there from Heckle. Questionable play there from Ham. But now it is tied 4-4. Any team now who wins it is going to be on to match point. Something that's very interesting to note is just the way both of these teams have completely as I continue to get very interesting messages on my Uplay. But it's something to note is just how both of these teams have changed entirely from what we saw from the beginning of the season. And most of the time, what you see from teams from the start of the season to the end is they just get better. Their dynamic gets better, their plays get better, their kills get better, their gunplay gets better. Everything gets better because it just comes with time. The more you play the game, the more you play competitive, the better you get. It's as simple as that. But the thing with these two teams is it wasn't as simple as that. They have ran into multiple roster issues. They've ran into multiple roster changes. They've ran into times when they just can't strat because they don't know what their 5's going to be. And that has completely changed the way both of these teams have played. Pathos, again, I don't mean to bog down on Pathos, obviously, but they used to be the most talked about team in the league. But after they lost two very important players, their dynamic has completely changed. They look almost completely lackluster. They look unconfident in their play. And even though they're going head-to-head here with Seduction, both teams, I think, are just a little bit less confident in their play after they've had a lot of roster changes, a lot of roster issues. But they, again, as time goes on, it's only going to get better. So you got to expect to see these teams, they got to get a set roster. They got to get something going for them, because if they continue to change rosters, if they continue to change things, they're never going to be able to get a set kind of growth. They're not going to be able to grow as a team because they just don't have a consistent team. So Pathos, and as Broha is just going to be trying to lay a couple shots onto the castle, but not able to find the head, as he's going to be laying now pretty fires into that castle area. Castle is going to be laying shots right back at him. And this is just a gunfight that might take a very long time. But what I was saying is, if these two teams find a consistent lineup, if these two teams find a consistent roster, you will see them get better and better very, very quickly. And I think a lot quicker than other teams in the league, because they have that prior experience where they did have a set roster. So I think that's something very interesting to know, as Deadbite gets a great pre-fire onto Durkin. I actually think he might have been going for the drone possibly, and instead found the body of someone. But a great toss there from Ham, as he's able to, as a very unfortunate swing there though from Ham, but he is able to find one. But can he find the castle? As Castle does get baited out, but is actually somehow still alive. This is the third time in a row we've actually seen Heckle just hanging on barely, but Ham is able to get the kill. Either way, it's going to be up to Redix and K9. Redix is going to be in a roam position here in the classroom area. K9 is going to be the last one on site. Kirkland, the Thermite, does have control of the diffuser and is also going to be getting control of Hatch and Meeting Hall. So great control here from Seduction, but Mick Foles is going to be going down. That's going to be the Capitao. So good luck trying to force that smoke out of his hind spot with those Capitao bullets. But unfortunately, not going to happen as Reddick gets a huge kill onto the Capitao. This is a very, very big round for these two teams, as whoever wins this gets put onto match point, and this is very, very important. K9 obviously is expecting the drop from Hatch. Reddix is going to be slowly making his way down the stairs. Could he get the flank that is well needed? As he does, Reddix gets the kill onto Ham. What a great roam clear there. Not roam clear, great roam play there from Reddix, and it's going to be all up to the Thermite of Kirkland, who is going to be going for the frag there. Is actually able to get the kill onto K9. My fault. When he was distorted by the Zofia, I too was a little bit distorted. And just like that, could potentially get the pre-fire, but he's looking the wrong way and just gets domed by Reddix. And unfortunately, just like that, Pathos are onto match point, and what looked like Seduction crawling their way back into this one, Pathos finally shut the door. But again, here is what we see. On the match point, there is a potential for infinite overtime. Both of these teams have been so close. I'm expecting Seduction to pull this one back here, get a win, and we're going to see a battle in overtime. Something that's very also somewhat interesting to note is the fact that these two teams have been going at each other for a very long time. Not only obviously in the series, but they've scrimmed each other time and time again. They know each other's strats. They know what each other is going to be bringing to the table. They know what is going to be at play. And because of that, a lot of strats that you might see, a lot of strats that you could possibly see it get pulled out here, won't get pulled out because these two teams know each other's counters. And that is somewhat an issue with scrimming. That's some people just hate scrimming because they're scared of just giving up strats. But that's also a reason why you see teams, they never really scrim people who are in the same league in them or same competition as them. As a great example of this is EG on North America. They're never really going to scrim against a team in Pro League. Obviously, they scrim against Space Station Gaming quite a lot, but there's not a lot of teams that they're just going to be going up against time and time again, especially like one of the dumbest things you could possibly do, especially for like top tier teams, is go up against the other top tier teams, such as if EG went up against Penta or something like that. You never want to do that because you can give up strats and you can give up opportunities where you could win around. And that's kind of what we're seeing here from Pathos and Seduction. These two teams have scrimmed a lot before, and that then gives up a lot of strats that they can't do because both these teams know the counters, they know what to expect, and they know exactly how to stop that strat in its tracks. As you see, Broha just trying to get some big tower control. And with all the momentum that Seduction, I think, lost in that last round loss, that's a lot to question. Are they going to be able to bring it back? Obviously, they do have a round in hand. So there is a question that they could say, well, let's just kind of save our energy. Let's just, I guess, try this one, get that 5-minute break, and then go on to the last map. But it's definitely, I don't think, what they want to do. Obviously, me being a caster, it's very tiresome to cast all these games, but I want to see a map 3. I want to see these teams go head-to-head on the last map because it really is then who was the better team in that position. As we see, Mick Full is using a holographic on the... actually, no, my fault. That is not the SR25. That's going to be the MK17. And I was going to be quick to judge as he was using a holographic on the SR25. But instead, he's going to be using the Scar, the MK17. As a grenade's going to be coming out and somehow doesn't hit Deadbite, but he's going to fall right into the tracks of Broha, who is waiting for that drop down in Attic. Great communication there from Seduction. And just like that, Deadbite cleared out of his Attic position once again. That's his second time very early on, but McFoles is going to be taken down. That's the Blackbeard out of the picture as Curtis is able to find the kill onto him. But K9, very low health. Everybody else on the Seduction team, either 50 health or full. So health definitely in favor of the Seduction team. whereas numbers are completely even. Durkin, though, is able to find a kill onto Curtis, so numbers not as even anymore, as Curtis, the Elysian, is going to be going down. It's going to be up to Heckle, K9, and Redix here. Redix, again, in a very nice roam position, sitting in Dining Hall. It is slowing this attack for Seduction down so much, and it seems as if Kirkland, the guy with the diffuser, just can't do anything yet. 29 seconds. The roam has been so good, but the frag is going to be coming out there from Broha as Broha continues to play very, very well. But the Legion is mine is going to stop him in his tracks. Durkin, though, is able to find a kill onto Rex. It's going to be all up to Heckle here. But with 14 seconds left, you're definitely looking at this as a round that the defense can win. The push is going to be coming out, but the call-out's going to be coming out as Heckle is able to get 1, 2. Can he get 3? He does, but the diffuser does come down. And in all of that chaos, it somehow went to a 1v1, and Pathos have just won the map. I don't like to call it a throw, but that was definitely a huge choke and a huge throw there from Team Seduction. We're going to be going on to map 3. This is going to get interesting. A lot closer on the Oregon map. Obviously, that was Pathos' map. I mean, not my fault. That was Seduction's map, and they did lose it. But we're going to be going on to map 3. Who is going to come out on top? Will it be a little bit more of a close game, or will we see a team run away with it? We'll be right back with you guys as soon as possible. All right, guys, here we go, and on to map 3. This, I think, is actually the first time where in one day we've seen 2 map 3s. Very, very interesting, as that just points to just how close these two teams, not just these two teams, but teams in the league are getting. We're really starting to see teams find their footing, get a grasp of exactly what they want to do, and that's exactly what we have been seeing this entire time, and it's exactly what we're seeing right now as well. So something to note as Blackbeard and Thermite going off the board, very, very interesting picks there. Something to note is because we saw 2 maps here today, they both went to a third map, not 2 maps, 2 series here today, both going to a third map. That really points to the fact that teams in this league, they're starting to learn each other, they're starting to know each other's counters, and they're also just starting to adapt a lot better. And the reason I say that is because the only reason a team that is able to kind of send it to a map 3, even after losing the first map, just like Pathos did here, I mean, obviously you always have to send to map 3 even when you lose the first map. That's just kind of how the pattern works, and that's just kind of how logic works. But the thing that is interesting there is just means the teams have to hit their hard reset. They have to be able to kind of, I guess, adapt, and that's exactly why we're seeing a lot of these teams just start adapting a lot better, just kind of getting to know each other. And as we were talking about all of that, we do see the map bans coming out from both of these teams, Thermite, Blackbeard, Valkyrie, and Mira, and we heard it from Mick Foles first. Those bans are boring, and just like I said before, if you are here for original bans that will shake things up, well, you're at the wrong place, because all of those are somewhat very typical. The only one kind of out there would be the Thermite, but again, not really a ban that you're looking at and saying, oh my god, we've never seen that before. It's more of a ban where it's like, huh, haven't seen that in a while, even though it happens quite often, but not as much as Blackbeard, kind of Blackbeard Glass type of ban. And just like that, the second time in a row today, we see bathroom tellers. We saw how bad this turned out for midpoint. There was a 5-0 flawless round for the attacking team. Can Pathos do it a little bit differently? It looks like they're kind of doing the same strat. I don't necessarily know if maybe both Midpoint and Pathos watched the same video on this strat, but it looks like very similar to the Midpoint hold. Upstairs focus, get lines of sight down, and prevent that plant. The only difference being here is the fact that they don't have an echo to stop that plant directly, and they're also opening up sight a lot more. This is going to be very, very interesting. Obviously, this is definitely going to throw off the entire Seduction team completely. Maybe just a little bit. Maybe they were expecting this. I don't know. But just coming out onto this site, it would definitely throw any team off. Don't necessarily prepare for attacking a site. You don't prepare for what operators you want to bring to this site. And that could be the difference of a round win and a round loss. That's why you do see some teams go to sites that nobody really thinks about. And that could be what kind of Pathos is going for here. Or it could be completely go out of their favor, and we could see a plant come down and just everything go in favor of Seduction. It really is just a matter of time to see exactly what happens. So right now we are going to be seeing Curtis slowly make his way to the front door. Is going to hear the drone, but I don't think is going to get spotted out. Mick Foles is going to be on this drone, is going to spot out the smoke. Smoke is going to retreat back onto the site area. And now Durkin and Broha trying to establish themselves upstairs, get some upstairs control. Vertical control on border is so important. That's why you are seeing this a lot of bodies being invested in that push. Mick Foles obviously right here is trying to get some type of control of the ventilation room workshop area, as they are just trying to put these Seduction players into positions where they are in spots they can push on the site, they can get lines of sight on the site, and that's exactly what we're seeing right now. As Maestro is going to be the lone operator sitting here in bathroom. Nobody has gone down yet as Broha and Durkin, just as I say that, get Heckle and Redix off of the board. 2 roamers, and just like that, smoke off the board, so good luck trying to toss those toxic babes. It's going to be all up here to K9, and I have no idea why K9 just did not take a shot there. Saw the twitch, but unfortunately was not quick enough to react. It's going to be all up to the Maestro, who is going to get caught out as 5v1 sitting in the bathroom. Not a smart spot to be, as we also see the Seduction players making sure that crotch button is working very, very well. Make sure they don't have anything stuck under those keys, so they are prepared and ready to go for the next round. So we have seen Teller's office bathroom. We've seen it twice today, and both times it has been won by a 5-0. So I think that just really points to the fact and points to the idea that maybe that's not the smartest site to go to. Maybe that's just kind of putting that out there, just kind of picking up what I can pick up, putting down what I can pick up, or whatever the saying is. I kind of forgot it at this point. I'm sorry. I've been casting for 5 hours and 22 minutes. But what I'm seeing is maybe not go to that site. Maybe just kind of go to a more viable site, go downstairs ventilation room, go upstairs armory lockers, and I'm glad we're seeing Pathos do that. Tried to throw Seduction off once, but it's probably not going to work. Don't do it again. I really hope Pathos don't think they can do it again and go down to bathroom tellers again, because I think at that point they're just going to be throwing rounds away. And we've seen Seduction, they threw a couple rounds last match. Pathos don't want to get caught into that rut as well, and they don't want to be giving up matches that they can win. I think a fun fact actually is this is the latest time we have ever casted a match for RCR6. It is 12:32 Eastern Standard Time, 9:32 Pacific Standard Time. That is the longest we have ever casted. That is the latest we have ever casted. So I appreciate everybody on the East Coast who staying up here, enjoying the Rainbow Six gameplay, and just seeing exactly what everybody's bringing to the table, because I know some people want to go to bed, but I mean, come on, what's more important, sleep or Siege? I think we all know the answer. It's definitely going to be Siege. As we see Redix again on that roaming roll. We saw him, Redix, if you guys aren't familiar with, he is going to be the player that was on Fein as well as the WAS team. He is also known as Gavin, but he has been just put onto the Pathos. He has been a very deadly roamer for any team he has been on, and that's what he continues to do here, as he is just sitting down on the roam, making sure that if anybody's bodies come crossing his crosshair, he is able to meet them with a barrage of bullets and get a couple of frags. As we see, just again, Seduction putting themselves in positions to start their push and just try to get something going here, as McFoles is going to be swinging in right onto A, putting a Claymore as well onto A, just preventing any type of run out onto the west balcony or armory side. And with a Mira out of the play, holding down this west balcony area is a lot harder for defensive teams, but it is still seriously hard for attacking teams to just kind of get a good hold on that side of the site, because if you have people on half wall, if you have a bandit tricking like he's doing right now, it's so hard to get control of this side of the site. But McFoles is able to get a nice kill onto Deadbite, who I think was hiding behind half wall. McFoles is able to find two. That's going to be K9 off of the board, and the plant is going to be coming down as Kirkland is dropping the plant. Drone is going to be coming out and somehow bounces off of the bomb. Very, very interesting there. But Heckle and Redix, the Redix obviously being the one that is on that deep roam. Somehow, Heckle does not get the kill there. Very, very confused. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't know if that was a hit register error from Ubisoft, but it seemed as if Heckle's shots were just not hitting the target. Very unfortunate there. It's going to be all up to Redix. He not only has to deal with a line, also has to deal with a retake, but also has to deal with 4 players breathing down his neck. He's able to land a couple shots onto the sledge. He's able to kill the Zofia of Broha, but that is going to be it. He is just going to be saving the op at this point. Maybe trying to get some KD. Obviously, in comp matches, that is not the smart thing to do. But he is able to get down 1. But no matter what, the fuse was coming down McFoles. It is high noon. He is able to get the kill there with the revolver. And now 2-0 in favor of Seduction. Something that's interesting to note as well, as I say, that is probably my biggest, I guess, quote of any time I cast. Is something that is interesting to note. That is probably my famous quote. The thing that's interesting to note is that on Border, we've seen defense has been the favored, I guess, side, has been the favored rotation. We've seen 60-40, like I said, in favor of defense, but right now Seduction is kind of putting a brink in that stat, putting a little bit of a mark on that stat, because what we're seeing right now, the attacking team is the one that is, I guess, winning all the rounds. They have stopped that pattern, and they are the ones winning up and being 2-0. And that points to the fact, is Pathos just doesn't have a lot of strats established for Border? But I don't think that's the case. I think right now Seduction, I think, might just be outplaying Pathos a little bit. I think Pathos will be able to bring this back a little bit and kind of get a couple rounds here and there. But you can never say someone on Border is necessarily out-stratting someone, or they just don't have strats for Border, because Border is played so much. Even my Xeno team, which obviously everybody knows is the best team in the league, they're not. I apologize. I snaked you guys. They are not the best team in the league. We are currently 10th, and we haven't played a league match yet. But we are still absolutely amazing, and even the best team of the league of Xeno, they don't. We even have strats on this map, and everybody knows that we're not really a strat-heavy team. We're more of a Latin America-style team, just try to go for frags. Even we have strats on Border, and that's why I'm saying you can never really say someone is getting out-stratted or they don't have strats on Border, because everybody has strats on Border. No matter what. Even if you are a bunch of silvers, coppers, dirts playing on Border, you got to have something going for you. And as I'm talking, guys, I apologize, but I'm going to quickly grab a napkin, as I'm pretty sure my nose just started bleeding. But we're A-okay. You know what? The show must go on. If I sound kind of clogged up, that is because I'm covering my left nostril here, as my nose has just started bleeding out of nowhere. I think it is just all the excitement from the apologize. I think it is just all the excitement from these games is just getting to me, and is definitely something that is, I guess, just a side effect of how close these matches have been this entire day. But Deadbite is going to be going down just a, not a little bit, but a lot of bit, as he only has 25 health left. And, guys, I apologize. But, oh, Jesus, this is very interesting. But we do see Heckle in a very interesting spot, as he is going to be just holding down this main entrance, just trying to get something established here, as K9 could potentially push out, but the Zophias are going to prevent him from creating any damage. But Broha gets met with a barrage of bullets from Heckle, and that is a huge kill from him, as actually Heckle runs outside and gets the kill. Very, very aggressive play from him, but it needed to happen, and it definitely could be the difference in a round won and a round lost, as Bro had a very nice angle onto sight, but with that kill onto him, not much he can do now. As Half Shelf is still occupied, McFoles just going to push the Bandit on Half Shelf, not knowing at all where he was. Somehow that K9 was not drowned out, was not told about anything. Grenade going to be lobbed in behind, going to be met with a barrage of bullets as well from Ham. Great play there from Ham, just tossing a grenade back there. Curtis is going to be taking down Durkin, but Ham is going to be taking down Heckle. Kirkland is down but not out. It is essentially all up to Kirkland and Ham, if Ham can potentially get the pickup, but he can't, as he gets shot through the wall. So guys, I apologize if I sound all clogged up or something, but you know, show must go on. I will just continue with my stream and kind of continue with these great games we're seeing right now. But first round there for Pathos going to be given in somewhat convincing fashion. There was, I think, a 3v1 there, essentially technically 3v2, as Kirkland was in the down but not out stage. But what we saw there from Pathos was, I don't necessarily think they changed up the strat, but I think it was just what we didn't see from Seduction. Their droning was very poor. They didn't have the correct communication, especially when pushing that half wall. They just lost way too many bodies when pushing into that left side of the site. That I think it comes down, the reason they lost that was just lack of communication. There was nobody really making calls. There's nobody really kind of saying anything. And obviously people are going to be talking, but they just didn't see what they needed to see. As that bandit of K9 just riddled down so many people and wasted a lot of time solely due to the fact he just wasn't drummed out and he didn't have the intel that the team of Seduction just didn't have the intel that they needed. As Heckle is very odd angle to put a castle barricade down, but he's able to do it. And another thing to that's very interesting so far about all these games today is we've seen two teams who almost directly mirror each other go up against each other. We saw Vigor and Midpoint, who have the exact same record and the exact same, I guess, like kind of build and play and just how they do things. They went up against each other. As K9 Pathos is just having a great time. I don't want anyone to get sick on stream, so I'm just going to quickly swap off of him. But we've seen these teams of both these games, Midpoint versus Vigor, Seduction versus Pathos here. These two teams have mirrored each other completely. They are so familiar with each other. They play exactly the same way. They have the same build. They have the same circumstances. They have the same backstory. And that's why I think we've seen two map 3s. That's why we've seen very, very close games. And we've seen some games going completely in one favor, some games go completely in the other favor. But no matter what, we're going to be seeing a map 3 from both of these teams. And it just points to the fact when a team is so close together, when teams mirror each other, I mean, you got to expect a close game. All right, as we see Curtis just trying to wait and watch as any push comes in. But when you are holding the ventilation room site, you have to be expecting the upstairs hold, and that's exactly what Seduction is doing. Clearing that upstairs is a priority for them. Sometimes, though, this is their biggest downfall of Seduction, especially on border. They struggle with clearing that roam up top. McFoles is going to be taken down just like that from Curtis. And that is already one person lost to the roam game and a lot of time wasted as well. It is not looking good here for Seduction. And possibly the solution to the roam is just ignore it completely. But obviously on border like this, but Ham is able to get the refrag. Curtis is unfortunately going to be disconnected from the game. It's going to make that a 2v3. And just like that, make it a 1v3. It's going to be all up to Deadbite. And unfortunately there, that is going to be Curtis losing the connection there and just kind of dropping out of the match. It's going to be very, very tough for him as that puts his team at a disadvantage. But we've seen Pathos clutch these before. We've seen, I guess you could say, Seduction throw these before. Could have both of these teams learn from their mistakes? Has Seduction, well, not both these teams, has Seduction learned from their mistakes? And does Pathos have enough in the tank to clutch this up in a 3v1? Let's see exactly what Deadbite can do. Durkin is going to be going down for the plant. Deadbite is going to hear it. He is able to get one. The plant is still going to be coming down, but the hatch is going to be watched there from Ham. And I don't think he is coming back. No, it's going to be a rehost. And we'll be right back with you guys as Curtis is unfortunately going to be knocked out of the game. The scoreline is... my dad, I don't know what just happened up there, but I heard him just sneeze very, very loud. But it is going to be 3-1, and we're going to do a quick rehost, guys. We'll be right back with you as soon as possible. Very...
Cause we are trying to find a way to feel. If I could sleep, I'd dream of what we'd be. But I can feel you slip further from me. Oh, it makes it hard to be when you are all that I want. but don't have. And I'll run into the sea, follow this heart that escapes me. It escapes me, and I'm lost. Forget me, all I was and become everything. All I Although it feels like heaven, I can't wait forever. Old habits are hard to break. I'm losing faith. Maybe we're better off this way, but I'm still
All right, guys, we are back, and I'm hoping that rehost was that rehost was done to perfection. As sometimes, like I said, I'm not the greatest at rehosting maps. I always seem to mess up, but it looks like we are going to be A-okay, and we don't have to worry about any kind of issues that Ubisoft has to bring. Sometimes I say it's Ubisoft, but most of the time it's probably just me. But Obviously, 3-1 here. Seduction getting a pretty simple win as, unfortunately, Heckle, I think it was. No, Curtis, my fault, was disconnected in the middle of a round. And, I mean, obviously the rule goes, if you disconnect in the middle of the round, well, fair play, as now the other team just has a man advantage. So, unfortunately, that round was given up to Seduction. They are 3-1 here. This was the same scoreline we saw last match. Pathos did end up winning that, but obviously they were on the winning end of this 3-1. They were 3-1. This time they are 3-1. So do they have what it takes to bring this one back? Do they have what it takes to kind of send this one into potentially an infinite overtime? I don't know. Or could we see Seduction maybe send this already to a match point, win a couple here, and make it a 6-1, similar to what we saw on Consulate. Obviously, after a rehost, sometimes it helps teams hit the hard reset. Sometimes it hurts teams because they get out of their flow. Deadbite, I'm a little confused on what he's confused about. I'm going to quickly spectate him and as Deadbite is unfortunately glitched here, they could potentially break the hatch below him, as I have absolutely zero idea what there he goes. All right, we're good to go. We were going to just hit the rehost most likely if he was stuck, but he is good to go now, and we don't need to hit that rehost button. That would have been a very, very unfortunate way to rehost, as just a that one would have been blamed on Yubi, but we're a-okay now. And looks like the push onto the top stairs, getting rid of that roamers, has already been put into good work, as Curtis almost going to shoot his own teammate in the legs. And K9, like last round, is going to find himself near that half shelf area. Didn't get droned out the first time. That was the reason that Seduction lost that round. Definitely looking for a little bit better drone pay, a little bit better communication on Seduction's half and Seduction's side. That's what will change the difference for the outcome, especially on this ventilation room site. Now, obviously, K9 is just going to be holding this wall with his life. Possibly could bandit trick it, as that Legion Mine is going to go off into the foot of one of the attackers. And this roam clear, it's taking a while, but the crossfires are getting established and the pinch is getting established. East side control has been given, but Broha is going to be going down. That's the Zofia. A lot of utility out of the picture. And that is Heckle, who didn't even lose a lick of health. But K9 is going to be quickly traded out there from Ham. And those are two trades, putting it right down to 4-4. And Redix finds himself with the red dot site, still sitting in the armory lockers right before Sandwich. He is going to be droned out and is going to get the probably easiest kill onto the Dokkaebi of his life, but unfortunately is going to be taken down there from the Ham. And it looks like the reset is going to be coming out here from Durkin onto Ham, just like that, back up to 50 health here. So health definitely in favor of the defensive team. Everybody has rotated down to site, and because smoke is still in play, we could potentially see Durkin and Ham, who are both at 50 health, and just like that, now very, very low health, as Curtis is able to get the kill on the Kirkland. Definitely in favor of defense. Health and numbers all in their play, as well as the fact that they have very strong site holding operators. Although upstairs control has been given to Seduction, it's going to be definitely coming at a price, as Durkin goes down to Deadbite. And now it's going to be all up to the Buck, and just hiding up there onto the servers. Going to be easily taken down there from Heckle. Again, guys, I apologize if you guys hear me drink water or just take a little breather or a break, but because of our kind of co-cast issue that we had where the stream was starting to lag, unfortunately I'm not going to be joined by a co-caster today. And it has definitely been a very, very long day of matches, as all of these matches have been very, very close. So I have actually been casting out for 5 hours and 45 minutes, so I apologize, guys, if I am just taking too long of breathers or just kind of hearing me drink water. I apologize, but already, you know, your boy is dying because I had a bloody nose somehow, but you know what? I solved it. Just got a bunch of tissues and we're good to go. We're keeping the show on.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
And talking about a show, we should also take a second to quickly get a game break from the other game that was going on at the exact same time as this Seduction match, which was Bot Yogi versus Turtle Esports. It's a little bit of a game break here. Bot Yogi just won 2-0 against Turtle. The first map being 6-4. Bot Yogi win. That was on Border. Second map being on Clubhouse. That was 6-4 as well. Bot Yogi win that 2-0. And that means Turtle go down one ranking, I think, putting them down into 7th. Bot Yogi puts that win, puts them into 3rd. So a big win there for Bot Yogi. Very close game, 6-4, 6-4. But unfortunately, Turtle were not able to find it out in the end. And were caught out and lost the round. I mean, lost the map and the round, and obviously the entire series. So what we're seeing now, obviously, on to halftime, the sides have switched. We're going to be seeing Seduction on defense. And Mick Foles playing that alibi role. He has been so deadly with that roamer role. Obviously, the only reason I know that is because the day we scrimmed them on Border, obviously with Team Xeno, that alibi was so hard to deal with, so annoying to get rid of, as he just continues to waddle around the map. And it always seemed like we just couldn't catch him out in a rotate because he was just too quick. So definitely pay attention to the alibi of Mick Foles, as he was just a hard playmaker against my team. Let's see if it's the same, but guess not, as he gets caught out right there in the middle of a rotate. Great way to just heads up play there from Curtis, and just like that, K9 is able to get a kill on the Broha, making that a 3v5, and K9 also getting a kill onto Ham, making it a 2v5, and Pathos here with the potential to tie it up, and that will be huge for them. Kirkland, though, able to make it now to a 4v2, just slightly doable. Marks and Peens are going to be coming out. Durkin is in a very tough spot. Is going to try to go for the peek onto the Lion outside, but there's just so much going on around him, and he's also going to lose his teammate in the process. It's going to be a 4v1. We've seen these go in favor of the team at the deficit, but he's going to be called out, and just as I think a lag spike happened, very unfortunate there, Durkin is going to fall and is going to die. And just like that, tied here at 3 apiece. Whoever wins is going to be 1 match away from match point. Obviously, I think the main problem with that Seduction hold on this last round, and the reason they lost, was because they lost their roamer and alibi very, very early on, and I think that's what made the difference. Because, like I said, Mick Foles as an alibi is absolutely horrendous to deal with, and is always a problem. And just him going down so early and losing all of his momentum so early on, just not able to get any frags, not even able to slow down the defense. That's a huge, just kind of nail in the side for this Seduction team, and that's exactly why I think we saw Seduction kind of get that win. I mean, not Seduction, I mean Pathos get that round fairly convincingly, winning it 4-0. So I think the roam game for Seduction definitely has to be a little bit more established, has to have a little bit more, I guess, oomph to it, has to have a little bit more, I mean, kills, just has to have a little bit more of a purpose to it, because there just wasn't any purpose there the time that Mick Foles just did it right then and there. So I think they got to change a couple of things here. And I think that's why Mick Foles is definitely going to probably focus more up top in the security room area. Maybe try to look for a couple frags here and there. Maybe potentially go for a run out that we saw him do before. And that's exactly why you see him prepping this right now. So it looks like a lot of focus is going to be put onto that meeting room, break room control. And a lot of the attacking utility and a lot of attackers in general is going to be putting a lot of bodies and just everything they got onto that push. And Mick Foles is going to be met with a lot to deal with, because Lion, Zofia, and I think Sledge all are going to be pushing him. This is going to be very interesting to see if he can hold this down, possibly get a couple of frags as well. That will be huge for him. Redx is going to try to get rid of that Maestro, and he does. Perfectly timed grenade sometimes you actually see in those situations, they try to hold the grenade a little bit too long, and in the end are going to be knocked out, just like Durkin knocks out Redix, who is prepping yet another grenade, and it's just going to fall into his lap and kill him. Just like that, is going to be my fault. 4 to 4 now, as it's so hard to spit out a 5 to 4, and just as I say that, they're able to get the trade, so we're back to 4 to 4. It is going to be even here, and now Pathos are just trying to establish themselves. They have gotten break room control. They do still have to deal with the Alibi, who is on the roam, and I actually don't think they saw her. Alibi is going to be met, though, with a little bit of a drone, is going to be spotted out, and is going to have to rotate back into sight just like that. The roam has been cleared out, and now Pathos can try to focus on the site. But the problem is they don't have the same amount of numbers as Seduction, as it is a 3 to 4, and time is ticking down with about a minute left here. They have a lot on their plates. They have a lot to clear out. Can they do it? They have the utility. They have the gadgets, but they got to utilize them correctly. They don't have the thermite or a hard breacher, though, so it's going to be very hard to open up any reinforcements. Actually, it's going to be impossible to open up any reinforcements. They do have an EE1D, though, so if they do get that plant down, they can stop that retake fairly easily. As Zofia is just going to soft breach the wall onto Fountain, just try to establish as much control, possibly get a plant down onto B. That is definitely the objective so far. As Heckle, though, is able to get the kill onto Durkin. Very, very late trade, but that does make it a 3v3. McFoles is going to be making the hard rotate. Is going to be halted by that Lion EE1D as the Lion roars. It tells McFoles, hey, maybe you should stop moving. But Kirkland, though, is able to get a kill, and Heckle is able to find the flank onto McFoles, and just like that, Pathos, even with the man disadvantage of 3 to 5, is able to pull it back and win it 2-0. And again, that defensive roam from Seduction, and I hate to say this because every game I think I always say the roam has to be better, the roam has to do this, the roam has to do this, and I feel like I focus a little bit too much on the roam, but the thing is that roam is so important to any team that if you can't utilize it correctly, if you can't get a good roam established, if you can't get kills on the roam, stop the push, just slow down anything, I mean, there's not much you can do as a defensive team, because Pathos, obviously, them recognizing that roam is not very good, they're just going to be walking all over you and pushing very, very hard, and just trying to get kills very early on. So I think Seduction, they got to fix the roam here. They got to get something going for them, because Pathos are just going to continue to focus on sight and continue to just get into the face of the defensive team. Something that is actually very interesting to note is the fact that when a team is struggling on the roam, that also points to a thing where it means that they might be losing trust in their anchors. And what I mean by that, this is actually coming from just personal experience and just kind of me being very, I love roaming. And that's kind of just my thing. I call myself a flex, but I would definitely tell myself that I'm definitely more of a roamer and operator who's looking for frags. And the thing is, when you are a roamer, when you are in a deep roam, if you don't have confidence in your anchors, if you, I have no idea what just happened with my computer, but if you don't have confidence in your anchors, if you don't have confidence in the people on site, you're not going to invest yourself in a deep roam and an aggressive roam. That's kind of what we might be seeing here from McFoles. He is putting himself in a spot where he does roam, but he's not as aggressive as I'm used to seeing him. He's not getting out for runouts. He's not going for kills, because I just don't think he trusts his team enough to hold it down like he wants them to do. And because of that, that's why we're seeing McFoles just get caught out early on in roams and just not able to get any kills, not able to get anything really going for him. I think that's what has been the major problem. But he's somehow able to not get the headshot there onto Habana. Very, very interesting. Their takes are down to exactly 50 health. The entire day of today has been marked with a couple of questionable hit registrations. But obviously with the new patch, they said they fixed it. So, I mean, we can't really argue with it, but sometimes maybe there's just more than meets the eye. Maybe Habana was just covering it with her hand or something. I have no idea. But either way, she is very, very low, and having a hard breacher that low, that early, is tough for Team Pathos, because if they can't open up those reinforcements, if they can't open up lines of sight onto the site, it's going to be very hard for them to get a plant down, very hard for them to even get frags. as we do see the Habana is going to be pushing in here. As I apologize, there's a little bit of a frame droppage here. I don't quite know what is happening, but if you guys are seeing that as well, Chiefs, just let me know. I think it's maybe goes down to the fact that we have been streaming for quite a long time, and that this might be just my entire streaming setup just saying, you know what, we can't do it anymore. But right now we actually are going to see Heckle take down Durkin once again, and Durkin maining that Legion. It's been good, it's been bad, and right there it was a little bit rough because he's not able to get any frags, and losing the Legion that early on, I've said it time and time again, not very good. He gets stronger as rounds go on. Sometimes being an aggressive Legion is good because he has a very, very strong gun, but sometimes being an aggressive Legion is very bad because you put your team in a position where they can't utilize your goo mines. But just like that, they are going to be able to utilize one goo mine and get the kill onto Curtis, but Tam as well is going to be in the down but not out stage, so that essentially makes it a 3v4 here. Pathos looking to put it onto match point, but just like that, Kirkland is able to get the trade. It's going to be a 3v3. Redx is just waiting possibly for that Maestro to fall into his lines of sight. They have 30 seconds left. They got to get this push. It looks like they are going to be going on a B-focused push. McFoles is just waiting for any type of hop into B, and just like that, he does get the pre-fire out, but unfortunately is not able to land the shots. He's going to push in a little bit deeper. 18 seconds left. You're going to be pointing towards the defensive team here to win this because there's just not a lot of time. But Broha is able to get a kill, and just like that though, K9 and Deadbite able to get 2 kills, and Broha is not going to be met with anything as he's able to stop the defuse and get the kill and win the round, making it a 4v4. This is definitely turning in a recipe for a very, very long overtime. Let's see if that happens. Obviously, we have seen a couple of overtimes before. I think the longest one being going to 20 rounds, if I'm not mistaken. I think it was 11-9. Yes, it was 11-9. That was Seduction, again, against Evolve. So could we potentially see that here? Pathos versus Seduction. In the Siege After Dark podcast, when we were talking, we said this is going to be one of the closest games, as well as the fact we said Vigor versus Midpoint is going to be one of the closest games. It's no coincidence that both of these games have gone to a map 3, and both of these games have been just very, very close in general. So, I mean, if you guys want to get, I guess, the inside scoop of what the games are going to look like, definitely tune into Siege After Dark every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern, where we bring in a couple people of the community, just get a little bit of a fun vibe going on. It's a lot laid back, get a connection to the community, just have a little bit of a talk, a little bit of a podcast, just talk about what is going on in the league, what we see, what we want to see change, what we want to add, have a couple of fun mini games and things like that. So make sure you guys tune in there Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Gives you our predictions, gives you our gives you our little bit of a mindset, what's going through our heads. Obviously, me as a caster, I can give you guys a little bit of what I go through as casting, and then also I bring in a couple players to tell you guys what they expect their team to be doing and things like that. So I highly recommend you guys join in on those Siege After Dark podcast, 7 p.m. Eastern, just because you guys can get a little bit more insight into the league. And it's also just a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun this first time. There's a very funny clip where actually my dad in the background, we said, who's the most underrated player? And you hear my dad all the way in the background scream, you are, and everybody was getting happy and laughing. And that's kind of what the whole, I guess, mood of Siege After Dark is. Very laid back, just having a good time. But enough about Siege After Dark, enough about promoting the other thing in this league. Let's take a look at what exactly is happening here with the match in front of us. Broha is holding a very interesting angle there onto the balcony. I think that was going to be the south balcony. Yes, it is. South balcony window here. The problem with that kill hole is the first thing an attacker sees when they look into that room is, okay, there's a kill hole here. Maybe I should just shoot it. And once they do that, well, whose head is going to be on the receiving end of those bullets? Broha's. So it's a dangerous peek, but could potentially be very, very good as long as the attackers don't see it and as long as the attackers don't capitalize on it and don't drone it out. So McFoles is deciding to opt away from the Alibi and go for the Ella. Has a little bit of a higher hitting gun, but the recoil on it is very hard to deal with, to say the least. It kicks like a mule, unlike Alibis that is just an absolute laser beam. It's gonna be definitely a little bit hard for I guess McFoles to just get accustomed to it. But obviously he's definitely probably played her multiple times, so it's not an issue for him. But right now, nobody has gone down. Sites have been established, and just map control has been established here for Pathos. But the thing is, nobody has gone down. 1 minute 25. There's map control for Pathos, but they also haven't gotten a kill. I don't necessarily know if that's a good thing for the defense or the good thing for the offense, because defense could establish flanks, but there also is the fact that now Pathos has a lot of control of the map, so it's just kind of a win some, you lose some, as right now it actually looks like Pathos could potentially be getting a plant down onto B, because I don't think there's actually any defender on B. Yes, there is line of sights on B, but there is no one physically on the B site, and this really could be an issue, could be an issue for Team Seduction. But McFoles is able to get a kill onto Deadbite. That is a huge kill, but somehow Broha is just not able to land the shots onto the, I think that was the Habana. Yes, it was. No, my fault. That is the Zofia sitting in the back of office, but Kirkland is able to get the kill onto Curtis. That is going to be the smoke, taking down the Habana, so it's going to be a 3v4, 28 seconds left. You are favoring the defense in this situation, but every time I seem to say that, Pathos finds a way to bring it back and put the game right back in their hands. Ham goes down, a lot of health. Smokes are coming out, and actually, I'm very surprised. How are smoke? Oh, Kirkland is still alive, my fault. But the smokes are going to be coming out as Kirkland just is going to be right under this entire Pathos team. It's going to be up to just Redix, and just like that, defenders are able to win the round. And Mick Foles finds the kills he's been looking for, and I think he's definitely going to be sticking with the Ella instead of the Alibi. As just great play there from Mick Foles. Unfortunately, because I have to flip over to the players and things like that, we're not able to see that full play come into action, but we did see a pretty nice kill there from Kirkland underneath on that trapdoor, just holding it down even better. So great hold there from Seduction, a little bit of a different style of hold, just having a lot more vertical play, actually having people underneath the site, not something you typically see, and it definitely bit Pathos in the back. And Seduction now on match point could win it here. Can Pathos pull it back, send it to an overtime? We've seen it time and time again. Pathos, once they go down, they bring it back, and then they send it to an overtime. And it looks like they're going to be bringing in the big guns, or should I say the big wall of Monty, as he's just going to slowly try to push this Seduction out of their rhythm and try to get this to a 5-5 and force the overtime. It's going to be very interesting to see. Obviously, there is infinite overtime. If we see these players go to infinite overtime, it is going to be a fight of endurance. And that is why I love infinite overtime so much, because it really shows who was the better team. Who was the team that lasted the longest, who was the team that made the least mistakes, and who was the team that kind of clutched it up when it mattered most. That's why I love infinite overtime. It's late at night. These guys have been playing Siege for a long time. These matches have been close. They're going to be exhausted. But infinite overtime is just going to increase that even more. The pressure will be on. There'll be eyes all on them, and it's just going to be who's going to be the one to stay the strongest, the longest. That's going to be the better team, and that's why I love infinite overtime. That's what we could potentially see here if Pathos can bring a round back, or will Seduction just say, you know what, it's time to go to bed. Let's close it up. As we see Broha holding the exact same angle as last time. He didn't get any kills here, if I'm not mistaken, so I don't think they necessarily know that that angle is there. McFoles is going to be rotating as well into that break room area with Broha. And being on the downstairs site of ventilation room workshop area, this is a very similar hold that they actually had to the upstairs site as well. And that's kind of odd to say, because most of the time when you switch sites, obviously on board it's not as dramatic because these sites are kind of similar and you have to hold them somewhat the same. But we're actually almost seeing very, very identical kind of style of play here from Seduction on a different site. And it's very interesting. I think it will throw off Pathos just a little bit, but there also comes the fact that Seduction last round, they focused a lot of vertical control, but underneath the team. And I think the reason that this looks so similar is because this site is now underneath the team, so it looks like they're having that same vertical control, but frankly, it's just them holding the site like they should. So I don't necessarily think it's an odd way to hold this site, but it was just the fact that it was an odd way to hold the upstairs site when they did it last round. As we see, Monty is just going to be pushing himself into bathroom, and with no hard breacher, actually no, they do have a Habana, my fault, but Habana not going to be able to open up as many lines of sight and as big of a hole as Thermite. But the reason that people just opt to use her instead of Thermite is which is solely due to the fact that she can hit them from long distance. She has arguably better guns. Some people like Thermite's gun better, as they call him Fragmite, but that also is because he used to have frag grenades. Unfortunately, he doesn't have those, but Ham is able to get a kill onto Redix. There is one roamer off the board, and Aoeah is going to be slowly pushed here from this Monty, and just a big wall is going to be pushing him, and Curtis is able to land a great shot there. Unfortunately, the moment I turn on to McFoles, he gets knocked out from the Monty. Let's see exactly what this Monty is trying to do. Trying to establish himself on the A window, and is actually going to establish himself not only on the A doorway, but actually in the entire A itself. And he is in a nice spot here. He's definitely forcing the entire Seduction team back into a corner. And Curtis is actually able to find a kill onto Durkin. Just a hipfire headshot there. Some people just absolutely hate it, but right now Curtis has got to love it, as he's gotten a 4K so far, and Deadbite is able to get a kill on the Broha. And great play there from the Monty. McFoles and the entire Seduction team of Durkin and Ham. Those three just, as you see, McFoles just absolutely hate that hipfire. But those three teams, those three players, they just couldn't handle the Monty. And now we go into overtime. Yes, I love Siege, and I love just watching this gameplay, but there comes a point when, come on, guys, you got to give the caster a break here. No, I'm just kidding. It's very, very interesting. I love going into this infinite overtime, like I said. My predictions right now is just looking at the way Seduction are playing. Obviously, the attacker-defender role swap on overtime, it's random to see who defends first. So right now, Seduction just got it, but it's going to be defense, defense, offense, offense. So that is the way that... my fault. That is the way that, I guess, that's just kind of how it's going to play out. Obviously, I'm slowly starting to lose my train of thought after the bloody nose and after just the long, long day of casting. After just also very, very close games and absolutely insane plays, you know, you start to lose your train of thought just a little bit. But going down to Ventilation Room Workshop once again here, it's actually very interesting because if I'm not mistaken, because it's overtime, they can go back upstairs. We are going to not... Actually, yes, we are going to be seeing that Monty once again. Obviously, I think they're trying to find direct counters to the Monty. Echo being a direct counter, as you say, hey, I'm going to drop his shield. You put that Sonic Boom, shoot the legs, and that Monty could die. But we're not seeing a Legion. We're not seeing any really trap operators except McFoles. I would have definitely expected Ham, who is playing a roamer, and Durkin playing a maestro. Well, that's very interesting to see, as those roles are definitely normally a lot much more switched up, as Durkin is definitely the roamer kind of on the Legion. Was expecting more of a Legion play here from Durkin, especially because he mains Legion, he loves Legion, and because they're bringing the Monty, Legion is a great counter to that Monty. Just slows down that Monty, just doesn't let that Monty get any control. A little bit questionable operator picks here for Team Seduction, but obviously they wanted to change something up, and that's why we see Ham and McFoles being the two on the roam, and Broha instead opting for a sight hold of Echo, whereas he normally would have played Jaeger or a kind of visual style roam. So operators' choices and just the people playing them have changed significantly here in this match. And could that be what the doctor ordered here for Seduction? Could that give them the must needed win to just hold them down in defense? I mean, hold them down in overtime, as McFoles is able to find a kill onto K9 Pathos. There's going to be one off of the board. Shot's going to be riddling out onto that Monty. Maestro is not able to find the shots, and Monty is just going to be surrounded by 3 different people. Kirkland is able to get the kill onto the, I think that was Redix. Yes, it was Redix, but Deadbite is quickly able to find the refrag. Aoeah is trying to chuck a mine onto the Monty, finally able to kill the Monty. McFoles actually kills 2 in that spray, and it's going to be all up to Hecko now. Echo, with just a string of health left, is going to push that Vigil, but Ham says, you know what, I'll just sit here and wait, and gets the kill onto the Habana. I mean, gets the kill onto the Habana. So great play there from Ham, and just that operator choices and those people playing them, well, that definitely changed something, as that was the quickest round win, especially on defense for Seduction. And now on to overtime match point. The roles have switched. My fault. It's not 2 rounds. It's 1 round on overtime. So the roles have switched. putting Seduction onto overtime now. Can they win it? They have struggled a little bit on defense. It's always been they win one on defense and then they lose one on defense. But now that they're on attack, could this be win one on defense and then win one on attack? Well, maybe that could be the solution. This could end the game here, make it 7-5. But with the way PATHOS has been playing, I'm just not expecting that to happen at all. I'm really looking at this match to be one of the longer overtime matches, similar to the Evolve versus Seduction game that went to 20 rounds. The longest match, I think, if I'm not mistaken, was 22 rounds, if I remember correctly. I'm not 100% positive. It was 22 rounds. It was a CCS match. Was it 32? 22 or 32, I think, was the longest overtime. And if it was 22, we actually saw Evolve and Seduction get very, very close to breaking that. And these two teams, PATHOS and Seduction, I think are even closer than Evolve and Seduction. And they really could break that entire... It could really just break that entire record. And we could be headline news on Siege After Dark. You know, tune in 7 p.m. Eastern. I'm just kidding. But, no, that really could be very interesting if we do see this go to a very, very long overtime. Obviously, like I said, infinite overtime, it forces mistakes out of people, and it shows who is the top dog. So it's going to be, let's see exactly who will be the top dog. Will we see infinite overtime, or will we see Seduction say, you know what, again, let's go to bed. Let's just get this over with. PATHOS on defense. Now, they haven't been on defense for quite some time because of the overtime roll swaps and things like that. So they were on defense attack for 6 rounds. So they got to get back into the defensive mojo. The same goes for Seduction. They haven't been on attack for a while. So they got to figure things out. Obviously, it's not like you gain rust after just not playing on attack for 6 rounds. But there is still just a little bit of a factor there that you kind of have a defensive mindset. Quickly have to go to the more aggressive attacking mindset, as well as the fact that if you're playing on attacking, you can't be as aggressive when you're playing defense sometimes, unless you are the very, very famous Scaboza, who keeps that aggressiveness 24/7. So really kind of depends your style of play on defense. You can play aggressive, you can play passive, you can play like Macy J, who is insanely passive, or you can play like Scaboza, who is just going to be in your face 24/7. So we are going to see just droning out there onto Fountain, just trying to get as much intel as possible, and then we're going to see the push. Right now, what you normally see in overtime rounds is teams definitely start to just play a little bit laid back because they don't want to be the ones to make the mistake. But Curtis is not going to be making a mistake as he gets a huge kill onto Durkin. That is going to be the Twitch off the board. And because there are no Miras and because there are no... there are Jaegers and Bandits, but I'm pretty sure the Twitch did get a lot of those. Not a lot of utility kind of knocked off of the board there because Twitch is dead. That's just numbers in favor now of PATHOS, and that's just the confidence they needed because just one number, especially one player in favor on overtime, going to give the team a lot of confidence to continue to fight and to continue to try to get a couple frags. Redix finds himself on this deep realm. Obviously, everybody is going to be pushing into that B site. Maestro is going to be making the callouts. Deadbite on that Maestro is just going to be sitting here waiting. He's going to hear the plant go down, but unfortunately not able to land any shots. But there he goes. The Habana has been put into a better position. Is actually going to stick the plant. And if the Maestro just did one more little zap, it would have been all over, but unfortunately, it doesn't matter how many zaps you're going to do because Deadbite will just riddle through your team, and we're going to be continuing this overtime. And as we continue this overtime, that is going to be put onto 6 hours and 15 minutes of games. And actually, as I see it, the longest overtime is 33 matches. Not 20, so we do have a lot to go if we want to break that record. But like I said, these two teams are the best to do it. The exhaustion is already hitting onto Heckle. As you see, he is just saying that, come on, guys, I want to go to bed. Sometimes, I know this is not at all what teams want to do. This is not all teams what will do. Is sometimes you actually do see teams throw it because they just want to go to bed. And I mean, I don't think we're going to see that here, but you could potentially see players just kind of say, you know what, I'm done. And then they just kind of slowly start to fade away from the game and slowly start to lose gunfights that they normally win. And Something to note that's actually very interesting here is the Seduction team, they don't have a lot of kills. I mean, there's 3 players on the Seduction team that have 3 kills. They don't have a lot of kills, but they're staying in this game solely due to the fact they have prevented plants. They have made the team on the attacking team just run out of time, as well as the fact they have gotten plants and they have kept everybody alive, and they have just forced the plant to come down, and they didn't need the frags. That is the difference so far for these two teams. Seduction has been playing in a way where it's kind of, they wait and then just play one more strats. They don't go for the frags. Whereas PATHOS has been kept alive by their frags. They have been the ones that have, the frags have been what sets the difference between the rounds, because sometimes when rounds weren't able to get the plant down and there's 5 seconds left, you can't get the plant down because you know you're going to die. You have to go for frags. And there's, I think, 3 rounds that's happened where they quickly push site at the very end and force themselves to get frags, force themselves to get kills, and that's what wins them the round. So that's why you see kind of significant kill differences in all of these players. That's why Seduction just have a lot less kills than PATHOS. And it would be very unfortunate if I completely did that math wrong and somehow they have the exact same kills, and that entire, I guess, spiel is completely irrelevant. But I mean, just looking at the numbers, I'm pretty sure they don't have the exact same. But I don't have sound. Oh, my fault. For a second, I thought that the stream was missing sound, and I was gonna say for 6 hours, guys, you didn't tell me that the stream had no sound. But I think it was just a client-side issue with one of the viewers. But making the very stereotypical push here onto A. Heckle is just trying to establish himself. Actually, that's not going to be bandit tricked at all. That's very, very interesting. Most of the time, you see one of those Habanas just definitely go down and just not be able to be used. But just like that, the entire lines of sight are going to be established. Everyone is going to have a view onto the half-shelf area. Now, pressure has been put onto the defense just a little bit more, as lines of sight from that Habana charge are going to be put onto them. And we are going to be seeing McFuls and Ham holding down the downstairs part of this site, similar to what we saw them do before. They went for vertical control, but they went for vertical control underneath the site. And that's very interesting. I mean, that's not something you normally see. That's not something you're typical of seeing, but it has definitely thrown PATHOS off quite a bit, as K9 is going to be going down to Broha. The plant is going to be coming down here from Curtis. Can he get it down in time? There is a pulse right below him, but he's not able to get the diffuser, not able to get the C4 as well. So unfortunately, when Redix was just spraying into the ceiling, McFuls is able to get the kill, and just like that, it's going to be a 2v4, but the retake still has to happen. The plant has come down, and Curtis just missing all of his shots onto the pulse. Enemy is detected outside. Everything is going wrong here for Team PATHOS. There's a lot to do, but they do have the plant down, and it is slowly running out of time. It's going to be all up to the Lion. They have to get this defused very, very quickly. Defuse is going to be coming out here from Kirkland. Does he have enough time? He does. Durkin actually gets a great frag onto his own teammate, but the defuse is going to be coming out, and the defenders are going to win that round. Seduction are able to take yet another round on defense, but now they go on to attack. Let's see exactly what happens here, going on to even more overtime, make that a 14-round game. It's getting good. It is getting very, very good. These teams are just going head to head to head. And as much as I just want to say, you know what, guys, I'm tired. Let's get out of here. I love to see these two teams compete. They have been going at it, both of these maps, and finally on Border, this is the recipe. This is what everybody wants. First map was a completely Seduction. Second map, definitely more PATHOS. This map, well, you combine the two, what are you going to get? A very, very long overtime where the teams are going to be going head-to-head the entire time. And we could potentially break the record of 33 rounds, which will be absolutely spectacular. But that will also take us to, I think, if I'm not mistaken, probably about 1 a.m. Mountain Time, which is 1 a.m. Mountain Time is going to be 3 in the morning Eastern Standard Time. But again, 33 rounds, that's a lot to ask for from teams. But with the way these guys have been playing, I mean, you gotta kind of expect this to continue. It comes down to the fact, like I said, it comes down to the fact who's going to be the team to make the mistake, who's going to be the team to just say, you know what, it's over, we can't do it right now, we have to just do something here, we have to take a risk, we have to put this round in our favor. Who's going to take the risk, who's going to make the mistake, that's what it comes down to. Whoever takes the risks, and if it works out, they win the round. Whoever makes a mistake, well, we know how that goes. You make a mistake, and you're going to have to pay for it. And that's going to be who loses the round. So going down to ventilation here, workshop. We've seen Pathos on this before. They've won it multiple times. It's been a very hard site for Seduction to attack. They have a very similar hold. Can Seduction pull out the counter strat and end this overtime? Or will the pattern just continue? We're seeing already K9 is going to be down a little bit of health. And could that be the mistake that costs them? You never know at this point in the match, at this point in overtime, when everything matters, just that. Everything matters. The simplest misstep, the simplest just misclick of your mouse, the simplest drag of your mouse, and things like that. Those are the differences in rounds. Those are what can change a team. That's what can make or break a team. That's what will win games, and that's what will lose games. And that's kind of what we're going to be seeing here, as Ham is going to go down quite a lot. He is just hanging on by the teeth here, and that is the buck off the board, so it's going to be very hard to open up any lines of sight downstairs into the B site. And pardon me, as upstairs control, just like that though, they are going to be getting the reset, so that does put him up to 50. 155 left here. They are going to drone out one of the players here, and Thatcher is just going to say, you know what, maybe let's not worry about him. Let's maybe try to go for a different push, as Broha is going to be going down. So Seduction, they're not looking good to take this overtime match point, as numbers have gone in favor here of Pathos. And upstairs control is still in favor of Pathos, as K9 is holding this half shelf area very well, and just waiting for any type of push, as he's actually also going to be holding down the site. But somehow Durkin, and actually the trade is going to be coming out, so that trade does go in favor here of Team Pathos, and just nice shots coming out from both of these players. And 3v4, it's very close. 1 minute here. If Seduction gets a frag, they have to go for a plant, because they are running out of time. 1 minute left. They got to get something going here. And just like that, the riddle shots are going to be going through, and Redix is going to be finding himself in a very tough spot. The pings are going to be coming out, but he just can't do anything about it. He's going to be sitting in the corner of Archives. He is waiting. He's stealing the time so much of Team Seduction. Curtis is able to find a kill onto Ham. This looks like it's going to be tied back up to 7-7, but never count Mick Foles and Kirkland out, as Kirkland gets one frag onto Curtis. It's going to be a 3v2. Just one more kill, and you tie it up. We've seen Mick Foles in these situations before. We've seen him clutch up in these types of situations. Mick Foles is able to get one, so it's going to be a 2v2. That is a huge mistake there from Heckle, just running into the sight of the entire gun of Mick Foles, as I'm just losing my train of thought as this is getting down to the wire. Kirkland is going to be moving in. Mick Foles is able to get a kill onto Redix. The diffuser has been down. Attackers are going to win the round. And finally, Seduction take the win. GGs have to be coming out from the teams. I mean, there's not much you can say there. Absolutely insane matchup between the two. As actually, I want to quickly go back onto the game and show you guys what the scoreboard was looking like, just because it was such a long match. Absolutely insane matchup between these two teams. This was exactly what you expected, and it has gone from 7 p.m. now to I don't know what Eastern time is. It was 7 p.m. Eastern time all the way to, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 1:33 in the morning Eastern time. If not, maybe it's 12:33. No, it's 1:33 in the morning Eastern time. And wow, very good games today. I appreciate everybody tuning in. I don't think we're going to be doing the post-match interview. I think we're just going to end it there and just call it a night. But in the end, what a absolutely great match. It was just all around very good, and you can't do much about it then, because it's just, it doesn't matter how long it takes, doesn't matter how long it takes the time out of your day, doesn't matter how long you watch it, it's always going to be a good match. And that's why this was just such a good day. Two great matches, Vigor versus Midpoint, Vigor coming out on top, and then Seduction versus Pathos, and an absolute thriller that had everybody at the edge of their seats. Seduction finally coming out on top. I apologize, guys. There was a couple of mistakes and issues with the stream. Like I said, because we are on the I'm in a different setup, I'm in a different state, we had a couple of issues here and there, but I think the just quality of the games did make up for that. So I apologize for that, guys. But I'd also like to say thank you for everybody tuning in. It really means a lot to me. Really means a lot to the entire organization. And I am going to be traveling Friday. So that is unfortunately means the Sharks versus Reign game will unfortunately not be able to get casted, but the Saturday Revolt game is going to be casted, so don't worry. I will be back with you guys Saturday, and I also will be back at my normal setup in Chicago, but that doesn't mean I won't be coming back to Colorado anytime soon, and you won't be missing any of my very fun adventures and things like that into the podcast, if you guys remember that yesterday in Siege After Dark. Tune in 7 p.m. Eastern every Wednesday, but that's going to be it then, guys, for today. Thanks so much for tuning in. I apologize once again. I think my casting definitely wasn't the greatest. It was just a very long day, so I apologize if at the end of it I just started sounding kind of sluggish and sick almost. Apologize for that, but I also just want to say thank you everyone for tuning in. I apologize for technical difficulties and that, but after 6 hours and 26 minutes of just pure Rainbow Six fun, that was just an absolute stunner of a match to close it all up. Thanks everyone for tuning in. That's going to be it. Team Seduction coming out on top. Vigor coming out on top, and then as well as that, during this game, Bot Yogi coming out on top against Turtle. Great games today. Thanks, everyone. See ya.